Welcome to Perkins Online, the Thinking Person's talk show. Now here's your host, Wilmot Mutty Perkins.
Interesting discussions. One was with the new chairman, the new executive chairman executive director of Heart Trust, the Heart Trust, Mr. Foster. And he said some rather exciting, well, certainly one very exciting thing, that we were going to, the Heart Trust was working towards bringing the Jamaican labor force to a level of education and skill training equivalent to international standards. Now, this is extraordinary. I mean, this is wonderful. This is what we should have had going on in this country for, well, I don't know how many years back. How is it that we're just coming up? I mean, the present administration has been in office for 18 years. One might have expected that they would have been working at this, instead of which the reverse seems to have happened. The whole education system has been falling apart. But now we are coming round to a recognition. Mr. Foster himself, I gather, has been a member of the Heart Trust executive for some years. How is it that it never occurred to him to, or did it? I don't know. It was very odd that all of a sudden we're becoming interested in, in bringing the labor force to internationally accepted levels. Right? And we're going to be doing it by the year I can't remember. It's gone out of my head. But all this is very exciting, wonderful, promising. I mean, we're being told that the economy is poised on the verge of a takeoff. And the International Monetary Fund is saying that following the election, the next government, apparently whichever it is going to be able to mobilize Jamaica, to bring Jamaica to its, well, I don't know, to bring, I haven't got it, the word escapes me, but to move Jamaica, get Jamaica moving then towards its full economic potential. This is wonderful. I mean, you know, what this is telling you is that, well, before I say that, let me go back a bit. At the last party conference, Mr. Patterson was there, and you remember him saying that the Most Honorable Sister P was not only the party's best hope for the fifth term, she was its only hope. From which I infer he could only have been saying that the party could not go forth to the Jamaican electorate hoping to win a fifth term on the basis of its performance over the previous 4. The only hope that it had was to go on the basis of the love that the people had for Sister P, Jamaica's first woman Prime Minister. Forget about what the party's performance and try to get the electorate to forget that. Go on the basis of love for Sister P and giving a chance to the first woman Prime Minister. But now apparently the party doesn't think that that is good enough. So we're getting all these wonderful promises, the economy on the verge of a takeoff, and when it gets back into office, it is going to be able to get Jamaica moving towards its full economic potential, something it has not been able to do in 18 years. How absolutely fascinating. And then there was another discussion, this time with Mr. Barry Chavans, who is of the University of the West Indies. He is the chairman of an entity called Jamaican Justice Jamaican Justice System Reform, something like that. They're about reforming the justice system in Jamaica, and the Canadians have sent a team down here to work with them, and they were Mr. Chavans was talking about a series of meetings that apparently are being held all over the country to, connect with the people and to get their input into the reform of the justice system that is needed. Again, very odd. People have been complaining about the justice system for a very long time. And, what is wrong with the justice system is so obvious. I mean, it begins with the view that we have of each other in this country, right? And the view that seems to prevail at the highest levels of the entitlements of people at the lower levels, or what are considered the lower levels. I mean, the fact that an agent of the state, a policeman, might, kick down some man, say, boy, come here and give me a search, and, pull him apart and whatever, and might arrest him and have him in jail for 2 weeks while he searches to find whether he can produce the evidence to charge him with something. Or on some other occasion might shoot him, and then you hear that it was a shootout and some gun was found and whatever, and there are people around claiming to have seen what happened and said no, it wasn't so, and it just fades, nothing happens, right? And the cost of people going to, most of the people who are charged can hardly afford to to go to court, to a lawyer. Well, all right. There's a voluntary system. There's a system that helps with that. But there are all kinds of problems associated. People want to go to court on other matters and so on, have a great deal of difficulty. And when they go, the time that it is going to take, you know, and then when it comes to the police, it doesn't look as if there's much of a chance of them being convicted for shooting people. You know, we have some outstanding cases. And it would seem to me to be a relatively simple. I mean, we don't need to bring the Canadians in here to tell us what to do about that. What we need is to set up an independent, impartial, reliable system of investigating such cases, and to impose rules regarding them. Now, if the government was really interested in this, it could have done this 18 years ago, right? Hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. That organization that I've been talking about is called the Jamaican Justice System Reform Task Force. The Jamaican Justice System Reform Task Force. It was set up in November of last year, and it is to report to the government by the 1st of June. And I gather that the Canadians are down here assisting in the process of reforming the justice system. Not not as a favor to the people of Jamaica. The government is paying them 55 million Jamaican dollars. I assume Jamaican dollars. 55 million. Right? They invited tenders for the job. The Canadians won. And they're to be paid $55 million. Right? And as I was saying, I mean, I cannot understand why it should be necessary to go to all this trouble to reform the justice system. It is obvious where the problems are. Right? And the basic problem is a contempt on the part of those who regard themselves as living in the Great House for those whom they see as living in the barracks. It's a perpetuation of the cruelties of slavery, which is what we live with in Jamaica. Right? And if we ever took seriously it's to begin with a mental problem, an intellectual problem. If we ever took seriously the rights of the people of Jamaica, and we have in this country some groups that have worked themselves to their wits' end. Jamaicans for Justice, the Jamaica, what's it called? Human Rights Group. Nancy Anderson, my schoolmate, what's his name? Oh Lord, he's a lawyer, famous lawyer. Lloyd Barnett. Yes. Lloyd Barnett. And then there was Mr. Daly. Remember him? He was involved in that. And there are others, Families Against State Terrorism, Yvonne Sobers, and the Farquharson Institute. They've been involved. A lot of groups like that, concerned about human rights issues and justice issues in Jamaica, and have talked about these problems for a long time. Government has paid them almost no attention. Right? And when we look at some of the horrible things, I was talking the other day about Mr. Douglas, Colonel Douglas, I beg your pardon. Right? And what he and a couple of other officers of the army did to expose that monstrous injustice that occurred in this country way back in the 1970s, I think it was in 1978, the Green Bay Massacre. And the interesting thing about that Green Bay Massacre, let me remind you again what it was about. A group of soldiers, including officers from the Jamaica Defence Force, spent about 2 months down in central Kingston, winning the confidence of young men in that area. Eventually invited them out to Green Bay. Well, they didn't tell them Green Bay, I don't think. Invited them out at about 3 o'clock one morning. Well, they were to be picked up and taken out 3 o'clock one morning. They're going to be given jobs, earning, I think it was $3,000 a week, which way back in 1978 meant a lot more than it means now. They took them out there in army ambulances, lined them up in front of a team of soldiers that they had there, heavily armed, among them, a general purpose machine gun manned by the officer in charge of the group. And at a point, opened fire on the men, massacring about, I can't remember, was it five or more of them, right? A couple of them escaped. Because the soldiers, when they saw what was happening, held their fire. This is what I'm told. And the story that was given out was that these men were unloading arms from a ship that was anchored offshore. And that story was busted when army officers, first of all, the timing of it, right? The timing of it was shattered when the photographs, these officers got hold of pictures that were taken by the officer in command of the group who did the shooting. He had this roll of film in his camera on which he had pictures of his children, little children, romping on the carpet in his living room. And he used the same roll of film to take pictures of the corpses lined up on the beach. Right? And the shadow was all wrong. The timing was wrong. Right? Anyway, these are army officers, including Colonel Douglas, exposed this thing. Right? And there was a long drawn out court process. In the end, not one man was convicted. Reminds you of Crawl, and reminds you of something else that we're going to be talking about this morning with Mrs. Sobers. Right? Not one convicted. That is the recent history of the justice system in Jamaica, part of it. Right? Because we have no regard for the constitutional rights, what are supposed to be the constitutional rights of the Jamaican people. Our minds have been captured by the paradigm of the plantation. Right? Those who see themselves as living in the great houses are of importance. They are deserving of justice. No policeman would think of doing injustice to one of them, because he would know he's in trouble. No, what happened at Crawl could not happen in Jackshill. That would be asking for trouble. It can happen at Crawl, right? And it can happen elsewhere of the kind. That is the problem. So what this setting up of this committee is about, God, or whatever they call it, task force, is about, God alone knows. If they wanted to do something about injustice in this country, they could have done it 18 years ago. As much as that. Right? Well, and it could have been done before that too. Right? Could have been done before that. But okay. We are just about at that. I'm hoping in a moment to have with us Mr. Delroy Chuck. He's going to be talking about some of these issues. And afterwards, Mrs. Sobers, who is going to be talking about today is the anniversary of Brayton. The 6th anniversary of Brayton. I wonder if some of you listening to this program have any idea what Brayton was about. One of the adventures of Renito di Cordova Valentino Adams. Right? What was it? 6 young men? Seven, the Brayton 7, yes. 7 young men butchered at Brayton. Not one single conviction. Just like Crawl. And just like Michael Gale. Right? And others. Janice Allen, 13-year-old girl shot in her back by a policeman's bullet. But the evidence, the register, firearms register, the pages were to begin with missing, the relevant pages. And then the book was consumed by a fire. And they had no evidence. Okay, we take a break, we come back shortly. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Hi, Mutty.
Morning to you, sir.
Yes.
How are you?
Not too bad, thanks.
The justice system, Mr. Chuck.
Yes.
This organization that was set up in November, and it's to report at
by
the 1st
June,
of June.
I think, this year. By June this year,
By June.
Mm-hmm.
Was that really necessary?
Well, Mutty, let's face it, we have had so many consultations on various aspects of the Constitution, justice, labor, everything. And as it has turned out, most of these things tend to be talk shops. Very little has been accomplished in terms of implementation.
Yes.
And I must tell you, Mutty, I participated in something very similar to what they're now doing in 91, 92, when it was funded by the United States government, United States EID. I think the program was a 20 million US program, where you will recall and your listeners will recall that they refurbished most of the courthouses and they also renovated the Supreme Court.
Yes.
And transformed the old Bank of Jamaica building into the Court of Appeal.
Yes.
Down there in King Street. And provided books. Unfortunately, most of the books are American books to the library at the Supreme Court. And, there was, to be fair, a little improvement in the mid-90s, latter part of the 90s. But to be frank, over the last 10 years, Mutty, things have got worse in terms of the delivery of justice in Jamaica. So that you keep wondering...
In what particular ways?
Well, first of all, Mutty, the delays in the system, the missing files in the courthouses, the lack of proper investigation and the presentation of evidence in court. And, let's face it, there's no week that passes where there isn't a cry for justice. Whether it is alleged police shootings, whether it is, witnesses saying that they can't bother to waste their time coming to court, whether it is victims saying that they have been injured and they can't get redress, whether it is lawyers and stakeholders in the court system saying nothing seems to be coming out of the court, everything it goes to court and it's clogged up in the Supreme Court. And generally, the lack of management and systems in the court is causing a frustration of stakeholders in the justice system. Now, there's no doubt in my mind, Mutty, that what is needed is management. The system that we have in our courts have worked in all countries, has worked here before, but somehow we in Jamaica just seem to mess up every system that we put in place. Now, whether this just...
Mr. Chuck, is it that we are incompetent managers of a justice system? Or is it that we don't really want justice?
I think it could be a combination of both, Mutty. No, it could be a combination of both, because you see, when you listen to some people, justice is only if their side is heard and agreed to. Nobody believes that they must give and take. When you listen to some people in the system, whether if what they say isn't the truth, then there's no justice. So what you're finding out when you listen to commentators, when you read what people say, that they don't understand the concept that justice is an independent, objective, rational balance of views. People just feel that their side is the side that is justice. Nobody is willing to consider the other side. So you're right. It may be that some people don't want justice. They just want their side to just be what they consider to be right.
Yes.
And then you find then that in the management of the system, you try to engineer the process to ensure that your side wins.
Well, I was saying earlier that our problem is, in relation to justice, that our minds are riveted to the paradigm of the plantation.
Whatever comes out is the law.
The people who live in the great houses see themselves as being entitled to justice.
Yes.
But they don't see the people who live in the barracks as having any such entitlement. And there's a further complication now, that people who wear one color shirt are entitled to certain preferences, and persons who wear another color shirt are not.
Well, Mutty, this is the problem. And, the traditional view of justice is that lady holding the balance, the scales in balance, and is blind, is blindfolded.
Uh-huh.
So, we have grown up over the last many decades, believing that justice is blind to the extent that it doesn't view colors, it doesn't view race, it doesn't view gender, and so on.
And it holds the scales equal.
It holds the scales equally.
Level.
Right. And whether you're from one political party, whether you're from uptown or downtown, whether you're a female or male, whatever your preference, sexual preferences, etc., etc., that you must be treated equally, fair-mindedly, and reasonably.
Uh-huh.
So that, what you're finding in this country, Mutty, is that a lot of extraneous considerations come into the process of justice, which is very, very unfortunate.
But look here, Mr. Chuck, we have had some outstanding cases. We had Green Bay, for example.
Sure.
Is it possible for anybody familiar with the evidence that emerged in connection with that Green Bay incident to believe that justice was done in that case?
Well, I think over the decades, most people have accepted that the victims of Green Bay never got justice, just as the victims of...
No, hold on, Mr. Chuck. Is not the victim... Justice is not just for the victims of a matter, Justice is for the people of Jamaica.
Quite.
Right? Because if you can do that to the victims of Green Bay and get away with it...
Well, it was done again.
Absolutely.
And you see that it was done twice in Tivoli.
Yes.
And it was done on several occasions. You saw it happen out in Spanish Town, where those people were... You remember where they were put in the open sun,
behind
which caused the leader of the opposition to speak about Bangarang.
Yes.
Right? So,
and what about Britain?
Britain, Crawl. Right. So that
Janice Allen.
And it,
Michael Gale.
And it continues every week, Mutty.
Uh-huh.
It continues every week, where innocent victims, many of them are. Some may be guilty, but they deserve their day in court. But many victims who have not been convicted by the court, so they're innocent, have been, cut apart.
Yes.
And, there's no doubt that injustice was done. And to date, the whole justice system has never been able to bring closure to the matter, because they have the families and the country has not had an outcome as to what took place.
I cannot forget, Mr. Chuck, that footage that was on television, TVJ, I think it was, of policemen shooting into an area occupied by Jamaicans. Some were old Jamaicans, some were young Jamaicans, some were,
Well, they're Jamaicans.
But they're all Jamaicans.
Human beings.
But some was picnic.
Yes.
Some was old man or old woman.
Yes.
Right? And they're firing these guns. These guns firing, some of them, armor-piercing shells.
Yes.
Right? And without aiming, just wildly. And nothing happened. There were pictures of that, and nothing happened.
Well, it shows what you said earlier, that the authorities then, and probably now, are not interested in justice. Those who could have done something about it did nothing about it.
Yes.
Fine? And, no, it is a problem, Mutty, when it is so blatant that you need an assessment, a full assessment, so that closure can be brought to the issues. And when nothing is done, you're probably right.
Yes.
The authorities are not interested in justice. You see. And it's a problem, Mutty.
But it's not only the authorities, it's people out on the street too. Mm-hmm. People, when I say people out on the street,
yes.
Right? They're not necessarily policemen. They're not necessarily involved in any direct way in the justice system. Except that maybe from time to time they may be called upon to be jurors.
Yes, but
right?
But you know, Mutty.
But if you hear how the people talk, right, on radio programs and so on, saying what should be happening to these people and all this kind of thing.
Well, I read Alan Douglas.
Yes.
Letter in the Sunday Herald, or contribution.
That man is a hero.
Yes.
Yes.
And when he pointed out that coming out of a church service, a lady actually said, when are you people going to wipe out all of those criminals down in Tivoli? In other words, as far as this lady was concerned, and by the way, Namati, there are many people who actually believe that that is the case.
Yes.
Do you recall up to less than 10 years ago, we had this discussion about the tunnels in Tivoli?
Yes.
And when police go in, the criminals creep through the tunnels?
Yes.
And up to now, we have not been able to find a tunnel.
And who was it that said that?
Well, it was said by the way, it was not only the Commissioner of Police, but there are many others who believe it.
Yes.
Mutty, I was in my office when a lawyer told me that he's sure that tunnels are in Tivoli. And I said, you must be kidding. And I took some of my staff and went down to Tivoli and asked, people down there who should know. I asked Mr. Siaga. Mr. Siaga said, well, if they have tunnel down there, the boys are better than I think, because I have been here from the beginning and I have never heard of a tunnel.
Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, Mr. Chuck.
Yes, Martin.
I gather you're saying that there is life in Trafigura yet?
Can we leave that for a moment? We'll just finish this discussion on the justice system.
Yes.
I'll come back to Trafigura in a minute. But let me just say this, Mutty. There's no doubt that, you see, this government believes that the way to to govern is to have all these open discussions with the public. Nothing is wrong with that if at the end of the day you start to implement. And the history of this government, Monty, is that you have all of these reports that come out. You remember this National Industrial Plan?
Yes.
That was supposed to be implemented
to
in
give
95
to
get
bring us to the per capita income of Barbados
in 10 years.
by 2010.
Yes. No. In 10 years.
In what?
In 10 years, from 96 to 2006.
No.
In 10 years, the best of my
recollection. No, it was 2010.
Okay. But
2010.
Okay,
we'd be at the per capita income of Barbados.
But you remember the promise was...
No, the per capita income that Barbados had achieved in 1995.
Okay, that's the point.
Yes.
The point I'm making, Monty, is that we were to grow at 6% annually for 10 years.
Yes, indeed.
Was anything implemented?
Well, we're growing, I gather, at about 0.6% annually.
Less than 1% average for the last 12 or more years.
0.6%?
Yes.
Well,
but you see why, Monty?
Maybe they mistake 0.6 for 6.
Do you see why when
or maybe they left off the point, you see, when maybe there was a misprint.
Yes. You see why when there's a projection of growing just over 2%, they are so happy?
Yes.
Because obviously they feel that this is great growth.
Yes.
And this is anemic growth, Monty. 2%, less than 4% is no growth. I mean, it's good. It's useful to have growth. But less than 4% is not meaningful to the population.
But not only that, Mr. Chuck. I hear all these highly skilled or people proclaiming themselves economists and commentators on economic matters and all this kind of thing. Right? Economic growth can be achieved by an increase in the price of sugar or of
inflation
of bauxite.
Yes.
Right? And indeed it might show up because of inflation.
Yes.
Right? What this country needs is not just episodes of economic growth like that. Right?
Yes.
What this country needs is economic development.
And massive economic development.
It needs to put its people fully to work. Right? B, it needs to increase the productive potential of the Jamaican worker.
Yes.
By a better education, better training, etc. Right? And a better cultural attitude towards work and employment. Right?
And in fact, Mutty, what you're saying goes to the root of the matter. The real problem of this country is resources.
Yes.
Lack of resources to do the things that need to be done.
But Mr.
Because, Mutty, remember they had this similar consultation in the education system?
Yes.
And they came out with this transformation of the education system that will cost $250 billion.
Yes.
Then they took out $5 billion from the housing trust. But nothing has, to the best of my knowledge, Mutty, very little is happening after that massive program of consultation and putting together this education reform program.
But look here, sir. We have people in this country who are grossly undereducated. Some of them illiterate. Right? As Dr. Davis said,
irredeemable.
Uneducated, illiterate, unemployable, and irredeemable. Right? That was his view. We have, and they are there sort of wondering about there's nothing for them to do. Right? And not much that they could do anyhow.
Yes.
There are other people who have been more fortunate. They have had training. They have acquired university degrees. And there is nothing for them to do.
And that is why many
so
of them...
they migrate to the United States or somewhere.
Many of those who have skills,
yes,
who have certificates,
yes,
are now finding that it's much easier to go abroad to get a job easily.
But of course.
And many of them want to return to Jamaica.
Yes.
But there's nothing in Jamaica for them
to do. And what happens? They go to America. They get a job. They earn $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year. They send back home $7,000.
10% or less of what they earn.
And we say how wonderful remittances are climbing and all this kind of damn nonsense. Right? When that man is producing 70,000, he's producing $63,000. Right?
And sending back 7,000 or less.
Well, no. He's contributing $70,000 to the domestic product of the United States. Right? And he's sending back
7,000 or less.
7,000. So we are losing $63,000
of his productivity.
In his case.
Yes.
Yeah? And we think that this is wonderful.
Yes. But Mutty, let me just say this. I mean, in this justice program, it is being financed by the Canadian government.
Is it?
Yes.
I thought that we were paying them $55,000 or something. Well, $55 million.
To the best of my knowledge, it is government of Canada and Jamaica putting it together to finance the whole program of justice reform. I am not going to knock it, Mutty. I have no problem with having these open fora and for people to give their views on the justice system. At the end of the day, I look forward to what the papers or the report that is presented. But the most important thing, Mutty, is implementation, the input of resources into the justice system, because that is what is happening. It may be, Mutty, that we need more judges. It may be that we need more better paid employees in the justice system. But most importantly, we need for the courts to deliver cases and to turn out judgments as quickly as possible, which is what is not happening at the moment, Mutty.
We also need, sir, a different cultural attitude to justice. We need a different view of what it is that constitutes justice.
Well, Mutty, I would put it in a very simple way. If we if we appreciate that human dignity must be the primary focus of our justice system, then we would have a far way to go. In other words, the pursuit of human respect and dignity, then could find some accommodation from all sides and circumstances.
We need truly to believe, Mr. Chuck,
Yes.
that when a man is a person is a Jamaican in Jamaica, whatever may happen to him elsewhere, but in Jamaica, he has the same right if he lives
Uptown or downtown.
uptown or downtown.
In
right?
the city or in the rural
He has
areas.
the same rights to justice. Right?
Yes.
And that it is in the interest of us all to ensure that he has it.
But you know, Mutty, even how we deal with Jamaicans and foreigners. You know, have you ever been to the United States recently, Mutty? In fact, any time.
Yes.
You notice how they treat Americans differently from visitors?
Yes.
The Americans get through very quickly.
Oh, yes.
Now in Jamaica, then the foreigners get through quicker.
But of
than the
course,
Jamaicans.
because they're more important than we. Right?
And one would have thought that in Jamaica, when you return to your country,
Uh-huh.
you should be welcomed back with open arms and you get through immigration and customs easily.
Absolutely.
But that is not the
Whatever
case,
happened to you elsewhere, when you hit upon this soil,
Yes.
right?
Anyway, on the next matter, traffic guru, Mutty.
Yes.
You know, last week Friday, you read an email, or you said you got an email, where the traffic guru in London
Uh-huh.
said that they had received the money via the international banking system.
Yes. Wire transfer.
Wire transfer. Which means, Mutty, somebody wired it from somewhere, either Jamaica or Canada or the United States of America.
Uh-huh.
Now, Mutty, I am telling you that on the 28th of February, Wednesday the 28th of February, Danny Buchanan and myself were on a TV program Direct, where he said that an emissary took the money and delivered it to the traffic guru agent in London.
Yes.
And, I mean, he was at pains to point out that the money, whether it was in a brown paper bag or check, was delivered, hand-delivered.
Yes. Something wrong there.
No, Mutty.
Hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you. Hello?
Yes, Mutty.
We have to run shortly, Mr.
Sure,
Chuck.
and I too. But all I'm really asking on this traffic guru matter, there are so many inconsistencies, conflicts, and discrepancies in the utterances from the PNP and also from traffic guru that we need better particulars. And
Well, the
full
PNP
disclosure.
and traffic guru have a common interest, haven't
Right. So, you know, basically, Mutty, Jamaicans must not allow this issue to die.
they? Yes.
Because there are so many questions that remain unanswered.
Well, one of the questions that remains unanswered is why did Trafigura feel so generous towards the People's National Party? Right?
Mutty, take care.
Okay, thank
All
you
the
very
best,
much.
sir.
All the best to you. Okay, hello?
Hello.
Good morning, Mrs. Sobers.
Good morning, Mr. Perkins.
I have not heard that voice in a very long time.
I know.
Yes, well, I wonder why
know.
I've been treated like this.
No, Mr. Perkins. Mr. Perkins, you realize that today is March 14th?
Today is March 14th.
Can
Yes.
I just read you something that was written shortly after March 14 of 2001?
Yes.
And this was written by Claude Mills,
Uh-huh.
who you will recollect lived on the same pathway, a
Yes.
few doors down
Uh-huh.
from the house in which the Brayton 7 were killed.
Yes.
On the 14th of March 2001. And this is what Claude Mills wrote then. He said, I woke up at 5:10 a.m. to a single loud noise. It sounded like a car backfiring. Then there were two more reports. I believed they were gunshots. There wasn't any other sound for maybe 2 minutes or so. Then I heard the noises coming from the dark outside and the muffled sound of men shouting frantic orders. A few seconds later, the silence of the morning was shattered with a barrage of explosions. After a while, the explosion stopped. Then, at 5:28 a.m., there was a high-pitched sound as a man was heard begging for his life. The voice was full of despair and desperation. A man was begging for mercy. "Officer, me no know. Officer, officer, no officer. Do officer, no kill me," the man cried. Gunshots followed his desperate plea. Then a stony silence. It was still dark. It was now 5:39 a.m. Then another voice came. "Help me no, brother Carpy. No make them kill me. Help me no, brother Carpy. Why?" a man bawled out. There was a pause. And then there were 3 evenly spaced explosions, followed by more screams. Soon a crowd began to gather. Stony-faced police officers kept the crowd at bay. They stood grim-faced but expectant as the policemen took bodies from the house on 5th Sealway, one by one, and packed them like kindling in the back of the police jeeps. Then, a few minutes before 7 a.m., I heard a voice crying out from inside the house on 5th Sealway. "Why? No kill me. Mama, them a go kill me. Mama, them a go kill, screamed the man before being cut short by more explosions. A woman screamed murder. Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, Mrs. Sobel.
Yes. No, Mr. Perkins.
Claude Mills is a journalist.
Yes.
Worked at the Gleaner.
Right.
And had published that article.
That's right.
In the Gleaner.
Because he said this is what he heard.
And he was a witness.
And he was a witness.
Was he called as a witness to court?
He was not called at the trial. He was called at the coroner's inquest.
Uh-huh.
But I will say that at the trial, there were several other civilian witnesses, including Carpy, who you heard one of the persons was calling out to him, "Help me, no, brother Carpy." And the person known as Carpy, who lives directly across from this house, came to the coroner's inquest and to the trial and acknowledged that he heard his name being called out on that morning.
So he corroborated,
yes,
to that extent,
yes,
what
yes.
Claude Mills had said.
That's right. And there were other nearby neighbors, and not necessarily persons who were that familiar with the young men, but nearby neighbors who also corroborated that they heard the voices calling out, and they could say what they heard. Some persons, not Claude here, but other persons said that they heard people calling out, "Our Father." They were praying.
And how many young men? 7?
These were 7 young men. Andre Virgo, Christopher Grant, Lance Bert Clark, Dane White, Curtis Smith, and Reagan Beckford, and Tamayo Wilson. Those were the 7 young men. Mr. Perkins, I'm going to just interject here a definition of the name of my organization. Families Against State Terrorism.
Yes.
Now, there are many persons who have had objections to the state terrorism part of the name. And in my group, we have met and we have said, well, if the name is causing offense, is there any change that we can make? And the members of the group have concluded no, because this is what they feel when these incidents occur to them.
Yes.
And the definition of state terrorism, and this is not just our definition, but it's one that you will find more or less in the same shape as I'm going to give it to you on the internet, on the Wikipedia online encyclopedia. State terrorism is violence perpetrated against civilians by agents of the state.
Yes.
In circumstances where the perpetrators have reason to believe they can act with impunity.
As in the case of the Gestapo.
Yeah, as in the case of the Gestapo, as in the case of apartheid South Africa,
Yes.
and one can list different circumstances in which essentially state terrorism has been practiced, meaning agents of the state can perpetrate violence with impunity. They know that nothing, as we would say here,
and of course
Stalin's
police practice the same thing.
Yes, nothing is going to come out of it. And I want to say that here, certainly we have seen it in this incident, and because I want to speak at the moment on the subject of state terrorism and my country.
Yes.
And I want to just identify some of the other incidents before I come back to Britain. And I want to identify Coral Gardens.
Yes.
I want to identify Green Bay.
Yes.
I want to identify Constant Spring Lockup.
Yes.
With Agana Barrett. And Agana Barrett's name is the one always called.
Yes.
But today I want to call Vassal Brown.
Vassal Brown.
And Ian Forbes.
Ian Forbes.
I want to call the 27 people in Tivoli Gardens.
Yes.
And outside of that, Mr. Perkins.
And don't forget, Mrs. Sobers.
Yes.
When you're talking about Tivoli Gardens and the 27 people.
Yes.
Don't forget what was it, 3 women and 2 children?
Yes.
Eh?
Yes, Mr.
Who
Perkins.
died in
1997.
As a result of what was called a gun battle lasting 14 days.
And
they were the only casualties.
Mr. Perkins, let us not forget also all of the persons. Last year, we had about 250 persons killed by the police.
Yes.
I've so far been unable to get the actual figures out from the Bureau of Special Investigations, so they are normally very cooperative with the data. But I suspect that the data might be such that it may be even more startling than we think.
Yes.
So I wish to say that there are many, many, many more persons who have been victims of this state terrorism, and I wish to include among those victims the police, because I believe that the police are also corrupted by being able to act with impunity.
Yes.
Does that make sense to you, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, it does.
Yes. So I'm saying that the police...
They know that they're not under they have no obligation to the law.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
They can do what they want and get away with it.
Precisely. So that is also corrupting for them.
Yes.
And is also, of course, extremely the word I can only think of is let's say difficult for policemen who wish to act with integrity.
Yes.
And they have around them an environment where
that demands corruption of them.
Yes.
Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back with you, Mrs. Sobers.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. I was speaking about police who are also victims of state terrorism. And these are police who would wish to say what they know, but know that if they do that, they may be risking their lives.
Yes.
Not just their livelihoods, but their lives. I wish to speak in those terms pertaining, for instance, to a policeman who I will name because he's now dead. And this is a policeman, I may have mentioned his name to you before, called Desmond Brown. Now, Desmond Brown was at the Spanish Town police station, and one night he was said to have stopped a vehicle in the Bog Walk area, a suspected stolen vehicle. And according to the police report at the time, men from the vehicle opened fire on him, and as a result he was shot dead. However, Mr. Perkins, the autopsy showed that the bullet came to the back of the head. Now, you know that would be a little, a bit of a stretch of the imagination.
Yes, indeed.
To be facing people and to get a bullet to the back of the
I
head.
remember the case.
No, Desmond Brown was at that same time investigating a jail breakout that had occurred at Spanish Town earlier that year. Now, my sources tell me, this information I'm not able to confirm, but my sources informed me that about 1 million of a currency, I cannot swear it's a local currency, but about 1 million of a currency changed hands, so that two persons who were due for sentencing shortly would be able to take a plane and go to England. And so, therefore, somehow, in a lockup at a police station, 17 persons are able to walk out. That in itself would raise questions. Desmond Brown was investigating that case when it so happened that he was shot dead by a bullet to the back of the head. There has been, certainly for whoever shot him, there has been impunity. Nothing further.
Yes.
And he's not the only one. I raised that case because I happen to have some information about it.
Yes.
So, Mr. Perkins, however, the question is this: is this what we as a people want? Yes or no?
Yes.
And I have very sadly concluded that essentially this is what we want as long as it doesn't come to our doorstep.
Absolutely.
So if it is happening, indeed, I know that you have referred to the Colonel Alan Douglas article on Sunday. And what he says to me is consistent with what I see. That, yes, flatten them. Get rid of them. It doesn't matter, whatever you have to do.
Yes.
So, therefore, I'm saying here that really the state terrorism has to do with the people even more than the government.
But look here, Mrs. Sobers. We were talking earlier with Mr. Chuck about justice.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And there is some task force that has been set up to investigate the issue of justice reform and all this kind of thing.
Yes.
But the real problem with justice in Jamaica is that we don't really want it, you know. Right?
Yes.
I mean, the people who fancy themselves as living in the great houses, they're not interested in people who they conceive of as living in the barracks having justice.
No.
Right?
Sadly, no.
I mean, when you look at a case like that of Michael Gale.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or another one like that of Janice Allen.
Right.
How many people in Jamaica were really excited about what happened in either of those cases?
Well, exactly. Exactly. I mean, recently, I noticed that a magistrate in Spanish Town became outraged by police conduct with respect to an investigation on a case that was before her.
Yes.
And this was the case of McGarvey Smith. And I happen to know that case because it's one of the cases that we had followed.
Yes.
And I can tell you briefly what happened there. That this was on Easter Monday, I think, or Good Friday. And McGarvey Smith was visiting his mother. And someone came up and said, "You are Black as Shine?" And he said yes. And the person opened fire. It happened to have been police. I think it was plainclothes unmarked vehicle. McGarvey was hit in the elbow, and he ran. He ran through the bushes, and he collapsed in front of this person's house. The person, seeing that he was injured, offered to take him to hospital. The police who were following him then said no, they would take him to hospital, and the man naturally conceded. What he observed was that if the hospital is south of where he is, the police drove north up into the hills.
Yes.
He heard gunshots from the hills, and then the vehicle drove down. And when the family saw McGarvey, he was dead with gunshots in his chest.
Yes.
Head and chest. No, what has not happened? It has come to the courts, and the evidence pertaining to the records of what gun, who had what gun, that is what is in question. No, when the Brayton case came to trial, Mr. Perkins, that was also an issue.
Yes.
Because it is only fair that if someone is going to be charged with murder, you are able to present the complete proof.
Yes.
And I'm very much supportive of the law, where it says, it has to be proved with beyond reasonable doubt.
Yes.
No, you have a reasonable doubt where you cannot make the link between the man and the gun. And so therefore, if the records are either not made improperly, or do not exist, then it is impunity all the way.
Or if the register gets burnt in a file.
If the page falls out, or the register gets burnt in a fire.
Yes.
Whatever it is that you do, because you know that register is going to be key.
Yes.
To any kind of conviction. So all you need to do is to, let us say, contaminate it.
Yes.
And so therefore, we have a situation where it's the police themselves who know how to ensure impunity. But that's not the issue, Mr. Perkins. The issue is that that's what we as the public want.
Yes.
If we didn't want it, then
We
it would
wouldn't
have to be
accept it.
different.
Yes.
Because if we didn't want it, then whichever policeman was responsible for the contamination of the registry, the burden up of the registry, that policeman would have to face serious disciplinary charges.
Yes.
Have you ever heard of that?
No, Mom.
No, Mr. Perkins.
No, it doesn't happen.
So, therefore, this, to me, is the problem we have.
But you remember, but we talk about honest policemen.
Yes.
Do you remember those policemen who gave evidence in the Crowell case?
Oh, I
About
do,
having gone
absolutely.
having been sent to fetch a gun,
Yes.
which was deposited at the scene of the crime.
Yes.
You remember that?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
And in
Yes.
spite of that evidence.
Yes. But you see, let me tell you also a technicality in that Crowell case.
Yes.
No, the court had evidence of the most sophisticated kind.
Yes.
There was a cell site analysis. But in order to present that to the court, you have to have some evidence that says, this is the phone number.
Uh-huh.
This is my phone number.
Uh-huh.
Right? So somebody has to come and say that before you can present the evidence from the experts.
Yes.
I was at court a couple of days when the experts were there, actually started to give evidence. And then it was clear that they could not continue because that important link was not made.
Uh-huh.
Now, as you recollect, the individual who could have given the link somehow did not come to court.
Yes.
And so, again, Mr. Perkins, a link, because had that link been made, then it would have been possible to show the court that the gun was brought from Kingston.
Uh-huh.
Indeed, it was brought
But
from
didn't
Kingston.
the policeman say that it was brought from
The
Kingston?
policeman said so.
Yes.
But this would have confirmed, because what the defense was able to do was to say that the policeman was a liar because he was compromised. There were attempts made to assassinate the man's character.
Uh-huh.
And therefore to create this reasonable doubt. But if there had been evidence to confirm that what the man said was true.
Uh-huh.
And this was the link that was ultimately missing.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Perkins, before I go, I just want to run back again for your listeners what happened at Brayton on that morning.
At where?
At Brayton
Uh-huh.
on that morning, 6 years ago. The police said that initially they said that they had been seeking persons inside the house. Ultimately, they said they had a warrant for Christopher Grant, and then they said they called out. They were met with gunfire. No, they called out, heard rumbling, rustling, called out again, were met with gunfire, returned the gunfire, and then we had all 7 persons dead inside the house.
That, I'm afraid, is Renito Adams.
Yes.
Told me on
That's
this
right.
program.
Yes.
A different version.
Yes.
He said that they went there, they called out,
Yes.
they were, and told the men that the people that they were police and so on.
Yes.
Hold on just a moment
Sure.
for me, please. Thank you very much. We're back
Mr.
with you,
Perkins.
Mrs. Sobers.
Can I
Yes,
just...
Mr. Adams told me
Yes.
on this program
Yes.
that they went there,
Mm-hmm.
called out,
Mm-hmm.
right, identified themselves and so on.
Right.
Guns were fired at them
Right.
from the house,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
They took evasive action,
That's right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Called out again, there was further firing,
Mhm.
they returned the fire,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Now that, to me, does not meet the requirements of the law of self-defense.
Well, yes, Mr. Perkins, because if you can take evasive
Action, right?
then what are you
Then
doing?
why kill those people?
Eh?
Huh?
Yes.
Why not keep them surrounded, keep them in the house, turn off the water, turn off the electricity,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And at some point, well, there was a case in England
There
where
was.
a man was for 2 weeks.
That's
They
right.
had him he was in a house, in
Yes.
an apartment,
Yes.
and the police waited on him.
Right.
There was another in the United States where there was a man on the grounds of the White House with
right.
a gun. You remember that?
Right. I do.
Uh-huh.
And I will say to you that this man in England was somebody who at least a couple of occasions previously had
Uh-huh.
fired at the police.
Yes.
So, I mean, this was, somebody who one might look at as a desperate criminal.
Yes.
But nonetheless, the police waited.
They waited on him.
Now, these 7 young men, a lot has been said about them. And I will say to you that none of them had a police record.
Yes.
I was present for the 9 months of the autopsy and for the 5 or 6 weeks of the trial.
Uh-huh.
And there was no policeman who came to court
Uh-huh.
to say that he had ever had occasion to speak to reprimand any of the 7 except for one. And this was Andre Virgo.
Yes.
And Andre Virgo had been once charged for illegal possession. And that case ended with a no-case submission.
Uh-huh.
So that, as you know, exonerates him.
Yes.
But of the others, there was no shape or form of a police record. My
Yes.
point is, however, not whether they had a police record or not. If they had, and if indeed there were allegations that Christopher Grant had been involved in the murder of Constable Gibson and retired customs broker Betton in Above Rocks,
Yes.
then there is a matter of due process.
Mrs. Sobers, you know it is the crime
Yes.
that those 7 young men were guilty of?
Yes.
They were Jamaicans.
There could be nothing else.
They were, you remember, You remember at the time of the state of emergency, the declaration of the state of emergency in 1976, you remember they went down to Montego Bay and gathered up a number of persons who had been at this Labour Party meeting?
Yes.
And held them as being threats to national security?
Yes.
And you remember that one of the persons that they held was a man, Ray Miles, you remember?
Yes. Yes.
And he, as it happened, he held a British passport. He was a British subject. And the British High Commissioner wanted to know why they had locked him up. And they let him go.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
The others were held in custody because they were Jamaicans.
Yes. Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes. And, you know, Mr. Perkins, you and I may have different views on the question of reparations with the big R.
Yes.
I'm talking today of reparations with the small R. Reparations from our own government for these kinds of acts.
Yes.
In other words, what is our government doing? What can people expect? What, for instance, can the families of the Brayton Seven, Coral Gardens people, all of the others that we have mentioned, what can they expect, Mr. Perkins?
Nothing.
And what I think that the families would want to get is the thing called justice. If there was error, if it was genuine in self-defense, people need to know.
Yes.
And to need.
Okay,
need
hold on a minute, Mrs. Sobers. There are two persons I gather who. Oh, the gentleman who wants to say something to you. Hello? No. Hello? No, I don't hear him.
Okay.
He has hung up. Okay. Go ahead, Mrs. Sobers.
Yes, Mr. Perkins. But I'm saying that people need to know, because I am going to say that I believe that the level of crime and violence which we presently have, I think that at least a part of the cause comes from the hopelessness that justice is not possible.
Yes.
Justice is not going to come.
If people knew that they could get justice from the system,
yes,
then a lot of the things that they do, they would not do.
They would not need to do, because there would be proper channels.
Yes.
Functional channels.
Yes.
And so I think that when we wash our hands of issues such as Britain and all of the others, we are, Mr. Perkins, we are creating deficits.
Hold on just a moment, Mrs. Sobers. We have Mrs. Hall. Hello?
Yes.
Hello?
Hello, Kumi.
Good morning, Mutty. Good morning, Yvonne. Hi, Liz.
Morning,
Good
morning.
I just wanted to add a little something to what you're saying.
Thank you.
Do you realize that in every case that Jamaicans for Justice has done, we do not have a protected crime scene?
Thank
you know that it is a crime to disturb a crime scene?
Yes.
Thank you.
We got one the other day, and it's because Gregory Mayer, the caretaker for St. Catherine,
yes,
who was an original Jamaican for Justice person,
yes,
got his community to stand up around a crime scene and would not allow the police to touch it.
Yes.
So they
is that
were
so?
able to get all the forensic evidence and all the pictures taken. And that would be the first crime scene that Jamaicans for Justice has, that the scene was protected.
Excellent, Liz.
I did not know
but
of
it's
that.
a crime to disturb it, so I say we should start demanding that anybody who disturb a crime scene should be arrested.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. Because, you see, the problem as we have
I can hardly hear you, so I'm just going to hang up.
All right, Liz.
Okay, love.
Thank you very much for that contribution.
And that is critical, Mr. Perkins, because
yes, it is.
the problem, and I know that you have spoken about this, in fact, recently. The problem is that the police perpetrators are naturally the first at the crime scene.
Yes.
So this, therefore, allows for contamination of the crime scene by those who have the most to lose from proper investigation of it. And so, for instance, at the Brayton crime scene, there were very few spent shells.
Oh, substantial contamination.
Right.
Yes.
Spent shells, and spent shells continue to be removed.
They were all over the place, and wasn't there a washing down?
Yes.
A hosing down of
there was. What happened was that a pipe was burst. There was a burst pipe, which was allowed to, of course, wash the house. And then, let's say people smelled bleach.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that impedes DNA investigation is the presence of bleach. So I'm saying here, Mr. Perkins, that unless we decide, which clearly we haven't done, to be outraged at these acts of state terrorism, then we will find that not only will state agents be acting with impunity, but as today, you find non-state actors, meaning criminals.
But in the meantime, Mrs. Sobers, given that sort of background that you have spoken of, what is the point of all this justice reform task force? What do we expect of it?
Mr. Perkins, if you let us say that somebody is seriously overweight and wants to have a new wardrobe. No, if you want to have a slimmer body, you're going to have to change your lifestyle.
Yes.
Failing that, you may be buying clothes at a smaller size, but you may never wear them.
Yes.
You're getting my point.
Well, not that you may never wear them. Unless you change your lifestyle, you will never wear them.
Thank you. You actually will never wear them unless you change your lifestyle. So I'm seeing...
Or something else causes you to reduce it.
Or something else. So I'm seeing here, there may be a desire for change, but also a determination not to change lifestyle.
There is no desire for what is needed to effect a meaningful change.
No.
Right?
But if you have a wardrobe of new clothes, you can show it to everybody and say, well, this is evidence of my intention.
Yes.
But the action is what we don't have.
Mrs. Sobers, thank you very much.
Mr. Perkins, thank you very much.
Good. Thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good morning
afternoon.
to you.
I am a resident from the Barracks Road community.
From the...
Hello?
Yes?
Are you hearing me?
Not very well.
Alright, let me try to talk a little louder.
Okay.
I am a resident of the Barracks Road community in Savamore.
Yes.
And we're having some problems over there with the some land business. Because Operation Pride came in about 4 years ago and said that they were going to sell us the land. And some people have been paying some money, some people don't. And people is not like at law over the land. People is not living comfortable. People have been relocated from a lot like 24 to 52. And there's a lot of distress and problem is going on over the land there. People have been fencing the road because they claim that they need their privacy. And I think they just abandoned us. And we need for them to come in and give us the proper infrastructure that people can live comfortable.
When you say the proper infrastructure, what are you talking about?
Hello?
What you're talking about as proper infrastructure?
I can hardly hear it.
What do you mean by the proper infrastructure?
Like road. We don't have proper road. We don't have drainage.
So the property has not been subdivided?
No road.
Well, it's been subdivided into lots, right?
Yeah.
But then they haven't put in any... Who was it that sold it to you?
Who is it was selling the land?
Yes.
The Operation Pride. It's going to the Operation Pride.
Operation Pride.
Yes, sir.
And they sold you the land.
Yes, sir.
And did they undertook as part of their contract to put in roads and so on?
Yes.
They did?
They said that we have to pay the money, like to put in the infrastructures.
You have to pay the money?
Yes.
Have you paid the money?
In the community have to pay money to put in the proper infrastructure.
Yes, well, have you done that?
I just heard that a while ago.
Eh?
I've just got to understand that a while ago, over the years.
Oh, you didn't know at that time that you would have had to pay money for the infrastructure?
That's how I know they do it. It's like if government or anyone is selling a land, they would put in the proper infrastructures and then people would pay for the land.
Yes, but then you can't assume that. That should have been part of your contract.
No. That's not been a part of it. I just heard that from...
well, I don't see how you're going to hold them to it.
Repeat that?
I say I don't see how you're going to hold them to it if it is not part of your contract.
Well, sir, they just come in and they just cut up the place, so they peg it out. And the people, we don't have any, like get any titles or anything as yet.
You don't have any titles?
No, nothing as yet. They just come up and they move some houses, cut down trees. They just come and relocate some people, like mash up your just mash up your life in a way. And then over the years, you have been living in pure mud and water. You don't have no proper road, nothing at all. The community is in darkness. Yes.
Oh boy, I don't know.
So it's a lot of problems
that
it's going on around there. People is at law. People is threatened because I have a cousin. She fenced her place now, and it's a problem because people used to use there, so she need her privacy and a lot of distress. People distress her because they actually walk in front of her house. So
who is your MP? It doesn't seem to me that you have a leg to stand on. Who is your MP?
Hello?
Who is your MP?
I think it is Roger Clark now. I'm not really sure if it's I'm living in the
Roger Clark wouldn't be your MP. He's the caretaker.
Okay.
He's the man who wants to be your MP.
Yes.
Well, maybe.
Well, it's Blight then. I don't know if he leave us yet or
well, I think he's out of the picture.
Okay.
If I were you, I would have a talk with Mr. Clark. Maybe he can help you.
With the who?
With Mr. Clark.
Okay.
Mr. Roger Clark.
Yes. I don't know how to get to him.
Well, just get hold of his... He's a man with cell phone, you know. He has 2 cell phones in his back pocket.
I heard of that one.
Yes, and he can take out one and call the other one and say hello.
So we're supposed to be able to get to him anytime.
Yes, indeed.
But the thing is, we don't know the number.
Well, that is what... Call him at the Ministry of Agriculture, man.
Repeat that?
Call him at the Ministry of Agriculture.
If he's the Minister of Agriculture?
He's the Minister of Agriculture. Yes. And not only that, he should have an office down in the constituency.
I don't know.
Well, check it out. All right?
Okay.
Try that.
And thanks very much.
Okay. All the best to you. Okay, hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good morning, I beg your pardon. What the devil is going on?
Perkins.
Eh?
Good morning.
Morning to you.
Are you surprised of how the police are behaving?
No. It isn't a purely police matter. Right? If the government of Jamaica wanted it not to be so,
that's right,
then they would have taken action
Did you remember Mr. Arenita Adams saying that if they arrested him, he had a million words?
A million words.
Okay. So, you can't expect anything else better because they know why they are behaving in the way they are behaving.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He was invited and had a special talk. So he was well informed what to do and how the police forces to behave. So
and you remember, of course, that the government put up a quite considerable sum towards men.
Yes.
Yes, in that cold case.
So they know why they are behaving.
What was it? Was it $19 million?
Yes, I think it was 19 million.
Yes, quite considerable sum.
19 or 9, you know. But it's ridiculous how the police is behaving, and the government has nothing to...
has the power of how they are behaving. The government has the power to do something about it.
Exactly.
Now, if the government does not use that power, then the logical assumption is that the government does approve of what they're doing.
Of what they're doing,
yes,
because they are the ones that tell them what to do. Because if they didn't influence them in the way they are behaving, they couldn't have. If they didn't influence them the way they are behaving,
yes,
they couldn't have been behaving in this manner.
No, I don't think so.
Because the government would put a stop to it.
Yes. So all this thing about a committee to investigate justice, what do they call it? Jamaican Justice Reform Task Force. What do you think of that?
That is just election now, you know, Mr. Perkins. Just election.
I follow
you.
Don't
see the amount of things now that is happening because of election. They are going to give every child must be educated now.
Oh, yes.
After 18 years, and you have so much illiterate children out there that keep them ignorant. And now every child must be educated. Whenever time Maxine Harry Wilson come on the television, we just switch her, you know. Because I don't want to hear the rubbish, you know. I can't tolerate it. Right? When she's going to come and tell now that every child must be educated, and she's there for how much years now? The party's there and definitely keep the children ignorant so that they can manipulate them. Jamaica when you go there and here, they don't even speak English, you know.
Yes.
They don't know English, you know. Oh my gosh. And some of them are coming from high school.
Well, you remember Professor Nettleford saying that all over the world people are identified by the language they speak.
Yes.
The English by their English, the French by their French, the Spaniards by their Spanish, and we Jamaicans by our Jamaican.
But he doesn't speak patois.
When I heard him, I wondered what nationality was he.
I'm telling you, boy, these people are really interesting. They're interesting set of people.
Oh, boy.
Oh, I'm sorry for the young people.
Yes, indeed.
I'm really sorry for them. So now they're giving the teacher back the 500 million. They're giving the teachers back the 500 million.
Oh, they are, eh?
Yes, they said that they are giving back the teachers the $500. Why? Election is coming up.
Oh, yes.
And they want the teachers to vote back for them.
Oh, well.
So I would like to know if the teachers would really put back this party in power.
I don't know, Mum. They probably have their... If they would, they would have their reasons, you know.
I wonder what reasons.
Eh?
I wonder to let's pay them and things like that.
Well, I don't know.
So that would be the reason.
But if they like what is going on, then they want more of it, then, you know.
Oh boy, you look like a few illiterate people have in Jamaica. Away from you.
I don't know about me. I'm probably the most illiterate of them all.
Well, that means I'm one of them too. Because we think alike. We think alike.
I
mean, you and I, we think alike.
We think alike.
Yes.
Well,
so
you know.
I am one of the illiterate ones.
I'm good to have you with me.
Class yourself that way.
Yes.
But,
you're saying?
No, but if it wasn't for you, some of them wouldn't be learning now.
I don't know about that.
No, because when I listen to them, talking to you, it's always Mr. Perkins that is educating the people.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, Mom. Thank you very much. I have to leave you now for the news, eh?
Certainly.
Okay, thank you very much. We'll be back here in about 20 minutes. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. And we go directly to our callers. Hello? Hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins. Good
afternoon.
afternoon.
Afternoon. Good
How
afternoon.
are you?
Mom. How are you?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Yes, but not so okay.
Not so
I'm
okay.
having the challenge of my life.
I was beginning to wonder whether you're genetically linked.
Not at all. Or I would not be having this problem, I believe.
I see.
I've been trying to get a copy of my birth certificate from the Registrar General's Department since 2004.
Since 2004?
Yes, sir. I have done all that was required. I paid for all the various searches, and to date, nothing has happened. I have been advised since 2005 to do what they call a late registration, even though I insisted that I was registered, and I told them I have my passport.
You have a passport?
Yes, sir. And I just need to have it renewed because it's expired.
Eh?
The passport is expired, and
Yes.
I need to have it renewed. And this is what I have to be going through in order to get a copy of the birth
Look
certificate
here, Mom.
to do the renewal.
You know what you need?
Tell me, Mr.
A
Perkins.
lawyer. You need to
You think
take
a
them.
case can be taken against them?
Eh?
Can I take a case against
But
them?
of course, I mean, it is obvious. You must have been registered because you needed a birth certificate
to
in order
procure
to
the
have a
passport in the
passport.
first place.
I beg your pardon?
I needed that to have the passport
To
in
have
the
the
first
passport,
place. Mhm.
right? So hold on to that passport. That is your evidence, right?
Yes.
Now, if they, through their own incompetence, I don't know what they would have done with your registration, right? But they've collected your money
Yes.
and not providing the services that you paid for,
That's right.
right?
Yes.
Take them to court.
Mr. Perkins, you don't hear anything yet. Hear this now? Since they advised the late registration, I've been to the office. I went to the Mandeville office because I live in Mandeville.
Yes.
And I was advised by the manager there, January 25,
Yes.
finally to do the late registration. There I said, okay, I gave up the fight and I decided to do it. I came to the office in Kingston. I was told I need a death certificate for my mother. I applied for a search, which took a month, and they eventually found a number for that. I applied for the birth certificate, and I eventually got it last week, Thursday night.
You got the
death certificate. I need that in order to do the late registration, along with some other documents. I went to all the various schools that I attended, and I've been up and down the church
Look
that
here,
I was
I would
in,
not-
all over the place.
I
Mr.
would not
Perkins.
do any late registration.
Well, Mr. Perkins, hear this. My daughter is graduating in the U.S. from a university in less than 2 months, the first week in May.
Yes.
And I have nothing on which to go to take to the embassy now. I need to go and visit, to attend my daughter's graduation. It's my only child, and she has worked very hard. She is an honor student. She has been awarded by the U.S. Achievement Academy, and she's been doing very well. And, it would be so disappointing if I didn't get to go.
Hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. You're back with us. Hello?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Look here, I would resent such treatment by a government department that I have paid money to, right?
Yes.
To get a service from them. And they are...
Mr. Perkins, if you ever came to the office, one day you must get some spies and go there and see the way they treat people. Elderly people, they talk down to you. They are
why?
ill-mannered, they are rude, they are incompetent.
Because the people allow them to do it.
Yes, that is exactly so.
Right?
And when I go there, I am adamant that I'm not taking it from them, and I talk up for my...
Well, don't take this from them either.
Sir?
Right? If they cause you not to be able to go to your daughter's graduation, go to the court and ask for compensation for it.
Yes.
Look here. Go as soon as possible and talk to a lawyer about
this.
Yes,
Mr. Perkins, I'm going to do that.
Right?
I'm just going to tell you this other part. I went there on Friday, and then took in all the forms, I thought, for the late registration,
yes,
along with the death certificate. And I was told that there's a form there called a naming form, right? A naming certificate that I needed to have signed by the chief declarant, somebody who's going to come and do an interview at the office there, when they are ready. And I didn't know that this form was to be signed, a naming certificate, Mr. Perkins, and I asked what the form was for, and they refused to explain to me, and they were high-handed and behaving in a manner you wouldn't believe.
High-handed and incompetent.
Incompetent, beyond gross incompetence, negligence, and the rest of it. Mr. Perkins, I have a sheet here with 3 pages with all the activities that have gone on this application since 2004. I have it right in front of me here now. The going and the coming and the backing and the forthing and this frustration, the extreme frustration.
Look here, Mom.
I paid for
if people allow them to get away with this, they'll just keep on doing it.
Yes. I paid for a form search in 2004. At the time, it cost $600. Okay. Subsequently, the fees for that service have been increased to $6,000. So now, guess what they told me on Friday? I must pay the additional $5,400
for what?
And have them do a further 7-year search after the year I was born. Yes, Mr. Perkins, that's what the assistant CEO told the customer service rep to tell me.
You realize, of course, that they are playing a vital role in the solution of Dr. Davis's budgetary problems.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, boy. Mr. Perkins, when are we going to get up out of this? We need some more Paul Bogles. We need some Sam Sharps, nannies. What do we need? What is it going to take? What is it going to take?
I don't know.
Somebody has to do something, Mr. Perkins. We can't continue to live under this kind of oppression.
We can't allow this to continue.
We cannot continue like this. It cannot go on, Mr. Perkins.
I hear them advertising that March the 15th, that's tomorrow,
yes,
is the final day for payment of taxes, and you better have the thing in, or you're going to pay how much overcharge or whatever.
If you don't have it, you're in a trouble.
Yes.
You understand? Not trouble, trouble.
And when you pay this money, what do you get in return for it?
Tell me about it, Mr. Perkins. Tell me about it. You know, I have loved this country with all my heart, and have, had this sort of patriotic attitude over the years. And at some point in time, I would sing along with Eric Donaldson, "This is the land of my birth," etc., and then I leave you and that sort of thing. But I have realized that I can't continue to sing that song because, it's not taking me anywhere by being loyal to Jamaica. I love this country, and trust me, when I saw the beautiful, spectacular ceremony they had the other evening, I was overwhelmed. And I wish I could say I'm a proud Jamaican. There are some proud moments in my experience living here. There are sort of powers and those, sorts of performances make me feel a proud Jamaican. But when I come back down to earth, the reality of living in this country, it makes me shiver. It shudder. I cry sometimes. I weep for the people who I see, who are even in dire circumstances, more difficult circumstances than I myself. And I am so sad. I am so very sad. So very sad.
Yes, but one of the things that we must do is seek to make it better.
Yes, I know.
And where an organization like that one out there is concerned, right? If we just take whatever they give, then they will continue giving what they feel like giving, right?
Yeah.
And taking from us what they feel like taking.
But the cost of legal services in this country, Mr. Perkins, and you can't take a matter like that to the legal aid. It doesn't work. You have to be able to find the funds to pay a decent lawyer, a sensible person to represent
you will be compensated to some degree by costs.
Maybe you can refer me to somebody who can do it on a contingency basis, something like that.
Yes, I don't know. I can't give you a name offhand. But I know that there are lawyers who will do that. Okay?
I'm going to be checking it out, Mr. Perkins. Right now I am feeling so, and my daughter, she keeps asking me, when I talk to her, how is it going and so on. And I have no good report to give. You know, she's all the way out of her land, living in another person's country, and you know, she had to go there in
Absolutely,
order
I know.
to succeed.
I understand.
Because what she's getting, she would not have been able to get it otherwise.
Yes. But I'm sure that when you serve the papers on them, that they will buck up and you'll get that birth certificate very quickly.
And the LR is supposed to, the late registration is purported to take approximately 6 to 8 weeks, and from their conduct, that could easily turn to 6 to 8 years.
Yes, indeed.
Right?
All right.
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Try that.
Thank you very much.
Okay?
All the best to you.
Good. Same to you. Hello?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you.
First time on your line and your program. Anyway, I'm calling about my brother. He had a birth certificate. He was registered. He even got a passport already. He even traveled already. And my sister asked him to send up a birth paper, but because they are changing out the birth papers now, he had the white one. He took it over there to them, applied. They said they cannot find nothing. And yet still he was registered, traveled on a passport already. And they said they cannot find nothing.
My advice, Mom, the same I gave to that lady, file an action against them.
Okay.
Yeah, you paid money?
Yeah, he paid money for it.
How much?
I don't know how much.
Well,
I don't know how much. I don't know how much, Mr.
Look here, what they're doing is nonsense, yeah?
Huh?
They need to get them out of there and to clean out the place and put people in there who know what they're doing.
And I don't cut you. I can remember I even applied for my grandaunt birth certificate.
Yes.
Already. And they said they cannot find nothing the same way.
Let me tell you something. My understanding is that there's a very strong religious influence in that place, eh?
Yeah. I wonder why people have to go the other way.
Well, people seem to be selected on the ground of their religious faith than on the ground of their competence.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
You need to tell your brother to go and talk to a lawyer.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks.
Okay, hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, good afternoon to you, Mr. Peck. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
Okay, I was listening to earlier this morning to, I don't remember her name, about just the whole matter of justice.
Yes, Mrs. Sobers.
Yeah, Mrs. Sobers, and it really pains to hear all those 7 young men died.
Yes.
Which could have been 7 potential young men to be of some benefit to
God knows what they might have been.
Exactly. I remember some time ago.
But in any event, they had a right to their lives.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. Because I remember you were having a discussion with a lady from, I think it's the Montego Bay area.
Yes.
Where she was talking about a young man who had maybe, break into some supermarket or something of that nature.
Yes.
And her director maybe had went to the station and saw him and took him over, and he eventually became one of the best workers.
Yes.
And I'm saying, if people get an opportunity of this nature, then people will become far better than they are today.
Of course.
We're hearing. I keep hearing on the radio, on the media, whatever it is about this cricket thing, and you must all come out and be happy about it. So we are treated badly. You're beat up. You have no justice. You have no health sector, and then you must come and smile and let everybody think, oh yes, this is a beautiful place. Let us be happy.
Man.
Let us pretend that this can't work. Then what after the cricket? What is going to happen?
We go back to the same old.
I believe that if people get opportunity, people will become better. They used to say, people don't want job, and the boy them don't want no job and all them thing there. And I see the amount of people I see working on the road these days. I'm wondering, if all of these people don't want job, then why them out there working?
Precisely.
Absolutely. Sir, we need to. And I said something to somebody there, which you have said, which is true. It is unless the incident or whatever take place to us, then is that the time we begin to talk.
That is the only time that we begin to be concerned.
From once we hear them kill 2 people down at Tivoli. Oh, yeah, man, a gunman, them fi dead.
Yes. Them should
yeah,
have
man,
been
kill them
down
out, man. Kill them out. Kill the 2, all of them. Them fi dead. But as long as they come to our door, oh, Mr. Perkins, them wicked and they lie, you see, the policeman. Yeah, I'm serious, because I remember I was talking with some friends the other day about incidents and so on. And, you know, yeah, man, wicked people have them for dead down at Tivoli.
Yes.
And she went on a bus the other day to a funeral, which police had stopped somewhere and, you know, shoot up, and this guy got shot. They killed this guy in the bus and so on. And when because she was there too as well, and when she heard what the police, you know, the incident they related, she said, them wicked and they lie. What about this? You must lie so. And that go on, you see, it's because it's up now in her presence and she's there.
Yes.
No, she can now say, no man, they wicked and lie.
Yes.
I experienced this years ago, Mr. Perkins, when police, they didn't kill my brother, but they shot after him in his car. And so on, and arrested him and so on, because, you know, he was running, you know, robot taxi.
Yes.
And didn't want to give over the key. And, you know, they shoot in the car and, you know, holding the car windshield and the seat. And when the policeman we went to court, get lawyer, and so the policeman said, you know, I was chasing him from about 2 miles, and him run through people's house and I shoot after him. Yes. And
he said that in the court?
Yes. Yes, Mr. Perkins, he was saying that he was
And
running.
what did the court say?
Well, I wasn't in the court. I wasn't in the court. But when my brother came out and they were carrying him back to the station and so on, and we were saying, why is not released and so on? They said, no, he don't get bail, and you know, things of that nature and so on. We had lawyer on the case too, and all the policemen, I was there at that day. All the policemen said on the final day was that he want my brother to apologize to him and tell him sorry not to curse indecent language in front.
Hold on just a moment for me. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here with you.
Yes, sir.
You were saying?
As I mentioned in regards to, you know, the situation with my brother and so on.
Oh, yes.
And, you know,
I am not aware, you know, sir, that the police have a right to be shooting at somebody who is running away from them.
Well, he wasn't even running. He came, you know, he's running the robot taxi.
Yes.
He came and he was saying that, you know, he wants the key, you know, give him the key so they can maybe put it up on the record thing. And so my brother said, no, I'm not giving him the key, and not like that. So he went into the car and locked the doors, locked the 4 doors and so on. So
is that so?
Yes, man, it was some years ago, and they even called, I remember they had even called you on your program, was telling you the same day, the incident, the same time it had happened. They even called somebody, I was telling, yes, and all the policeman said, you know, the final end of the court is that he want my brother to apologize to him. My brother spent about 4 days in jail and so on, back and forth to court and, you know, those necessary things. So I've seen the hands of the police, so I know what the police are capable of doing. Finally, Mr. Perkins, one of the things is very hard, you know, Mr. Perkins, to get a lawyer, you know, in terms of money, because to find a lawyer fee sometimes, I'm telling you, it's very difficult sometimes, very, very difficult. So that is why sometimes you see some people, you know, like if they write a man a ticket and, you know, he said to them, no, this not take place and so, and they say, all right, you know, go court for it and so on, and they long going out of court and this and that, and that's why a lot of people pay just get a policeman a money.
Yes.
Got the time, sir, to go here and at the end of it, because when you go to court, the first thing they're going to say to you, guilty or not guilty. So the fact is, what the policeman had written is true. So they want to know whether you're guilty or not guilty on the case. So you see, a lot of times, a lot of people don't bother reporting it, that maybe just get a policeman a money, sir, and them gone.
Yes, and that is one of the aspects of the justice system.
Because it's not there for the people. It's not, well, I won't say for the majority of the people.
Well, no, the question is whether it is there for the people.
Because the poor man down there, the man that is earning a little 3,000 or 4,000 a week or so, where is going to get this 30 or 40,000 dollars to pay a lawyer to go to court when we're going to spend 5-6 months going through back and forth and all kind of something, and at the end of it go hear that you must tell the policeman that you're sorry and all kind of something.
And not only that, sir, you know, one of the things that happens is that if you go to court, if you get a lawyer, right, mortgage your house and get a lawyer, right? the lawyer costs you, what, $100,000.
Mm-hmm.
You go to court and you win the case. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The court is going to give you costs. But that cost is not going to come anywhere near the $100,000 that you actually had to pay.
Exactly.
And it isn't that lawyer was overcharging you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he was probably charging you a fee that you would have had to pay to other lawyers of his standing, right? But the court is not paying you, is not compensating you for the actual costs that you had to bear.
To put up for that law.
Absolutely, yes. And that is one of the injustices of the system.
The system is not for the people on the lower level.
Yes.
It's not reachable for them.
Yes.
And so that's why and when you have things like those, Mr. Perkins, then you have people who are going to take things into their own hands. I'm not saying they should do it, but what option do we give them?
Nobody is saying they should do it that way. But it is difficult if the man says, well, look here, I'm going to take things into my own hand because what argument are you now going to put to him?
Yeah, what can he look at to say, okay, what you are saying is a reasonable thing. All right, I'll rest that part and I'll leave it into the hands of the law. Because the law is not there for him.
No.
The truth is, sir, you're right. I've seen it before, policemen, they come on the road. I remember one night I stepped at a gas station, sir, and, two boys, they were coming, across the street. I won't say the gas station, sir, and they had their bag like they were going home. And eventually, because one of the policemen came up to me and said, to me, it's not good to buy at this gas station because certain hours of the night, people are here robbing the place. So they saw two men. Apparently, they're coming from work and so on, coming across the street. Hey, boy, come here. I'm serious, Mr. Perkins.
Yes.
Hey, boy, come here. And so one of the guys said to him, we are just as boy. Who shoot you this? I'm serious, Mr. Perkins, I was there at the gas station. Where I was there. Hey, boy, come here. And one of the guys said to him, who are just as boy? What do you mean? We shoot you, what you saying, boy? Come here, man, shirt you. And they went over to it. It was a van. It was one of those vans, and it had about 3 in the back, and you have a big fat stout one in the front and so on. They came out and they went over there and leaned up the man, and searched them, Mr. Perkins and so on, and not seeing anything, they let them, make them go on and so on. And I'm saying, is this all police officers address people? It is how you see people, why?
Well, sir, I keep telling you, all this is coming from the days of the plantation and slavery. Right? A slave was not a person that was due any respect. And similarly today, those of us who see ourselves as living in the great houses have no respect for those who they see as living in the barracks. That is the problem.
So are treated anyhow.
Right? So there is no considerable body of opinion among those who live in the great houses that the police should treat people like those any differently. Right?
All right, Mr. Perkins. Thanks very much, and you take care, sir.
Okay, sir. All the best to you. Hello?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr.
Good afternoon, comrade.
No, man. Ex-comrade.
What?
Ex-comrade. Anyhow, what else are we going to transform?
To transform? I don't know. What do you think?
We need to transform governance.
Governance.
And that is to get rid of PNP.
You think so?
Transformation means better, change for the better.
No, but then come now. You don't think that Sister P should be given a chance?
Given a chance. Sister P has been a part of that set of rustlers that have been running this country for the past 18 years.
Sorry. Rustlers? How do you mean rustlers?
No, man, when the Americans talk about kleptomaniac activities on the part of government, we have had a government in Jamaica run by thieves for a very long time.
Sister P has not been part of that, so I gather that she
Wasn't she a part of the cabinet?
Well, nominally, yes.
And collective decision on the part of all of them?
Well, I don't know.
Huh?
I wouldn't think that she's involved in that, sir.
You remember what the late Ian Ramsey said about them in the 70s before him become a PNP?
What?
Him said PNP mean people's national parasites.
But he subsequently did the dabdoob.
Yeah, man, and he become chairman of JBC.
Well.
I wonder how Mystique will work out.
Eh?
I wonder how Mystique will work out if she will become a dabdoob too.
Oh,
maybe she may become an advisor.
No, man. Miss T?
Yeah.
Who is Miss T?
Mrs. Tartero.
Oh. Well, I don't know.
Anyhow, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir.
Now that we hear about transformation of the justice system, we hear about transformation of the educational system, and they go around holding forum all over the country. And I hear Mr. Chuck telling you that they said they had $250 million. But they eventually went and took out $5 billion out of the National Housing Trust funds.
Yes.
And even the other day, I hear in terms of the supplementary budget and those things, that the money that there was a cutback in the education budget. So I mean that all of that money has not really gone to education. And now we hear about transformation of the justice system. When Sister P took up her mantle last year, 1 year ago, didn't she talk about the changes that we were going to have where justice would be given priority?
No, she spoke about, and I don't remember that. She spoke though about human rights.
Yeah, but
her first commitment to the Jamaican people was to do something about that problem of human rights.
Well, human rights is an integral part of the justice system.
Her second commitment was to do something about the corruption. Right?
But we're still on a corruption.
I'm sure that she's against human rights abuses and against corruption, and that she wants to do something about them. It is just that she has not yet come up with the solution. Right?
So now that we have transformation of the justice system, one thing we can be certain of is that election won't be called before June.
Why?
All right, they are going to make the report in June.
1st of June.
Yeah, man. And when the election is called, you are going to hear how they have transformed the justice system.
Well, no, I think
they have 18 years to do that.
No, I think that the fact that they're working on it, you know, you see the economy is on the verge of a takeoff, right?
Is that so?
Yeah, well, so says all the experts, and you know. And the IMF is supposed to have said something to the effect that that the next government of Jamaica, that following the elections, will be able to
carry the country on growth path if it continues how what has been built up.
Yes, it will be able to get going, get the country moving towards the realization of its full potential, you know, the economy. Hold on just a moment, folks. Okay, thank you very much. Back online. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins. When you talk about the improvement in the economy, last night I saw on the economic...
Who talks about the improvement in the economy? Who talks about the improvement in the economy?
The government.
Oh, I see.
All right. Last night on the economic report, I saw where the country debt had been reduced in January from 925.88 billion at the end of December to 917.1 billion at the end of January. But I hear Mr. Nichols the other day said that the debt at the 28th of February was 642 billion.
Yes, I heard that.
So that means if we look at the January figure, in 1 month the debt would have been reduced by nearly 300 billion. So you see, when they have little good news with reduction of some 7 billion. They give you the figure. I remember some time ago I will tell you that they gave NIR and inflation and things of the sort, but for 3-4 months they wouldn't give the country where the debt is concerned.
But I don't understand these debt reduction figures.
I don't understand it, you know.
Because my understanding is that the debt was going up.
Of course, so Obama all of a sudden they dropped by nearly 7 billion.
Dr. Davis recently went to the market and got 330 million US dollars.
For 32 years.
For 32 years. Which means, you know, that your grandchildren are in trouble.
I know. Because the more money you borrow, and you do increase the...
You have grandchildren?
Huh?
You have grandchildren? You have children? Oh, well, you are lucky. You are lucky.
But you have to think about the other ones that are not going to get any justice. And probably we're going to come, we'll probably fall
you realize that the interesting thing about this, you see, is that those people have no vote. Right? So Dr. Davis can do whatever he likes to them.
Yeah, because
right?
That's why I give him the name Dr. Burroughs, you know. That's why his new name is Dr. Burroughs.
Dr. Burroughs?
Yeah.
I rather like that one.
Yeah, man, because he and his government has condemned the younger generation to a future of hopelessness.
Well.
Because all you have under this government for the past 18 years is borrow and squander and tax and squander, and increase the country's debt from 34 billion to, let us say, 917.1 billion at the end of January, if we are to believe those figures. And all those bonds that they are putting out here, all those are going to do is to cause the country's debt to increase.
Yes.
Because production is not increasing, but at the same time you hear that unemployment is down and those things, when after a 5-week period people are not really seeking job due to the fact that they may get a letter.
Yes.
They have been put on file for future reference and they never get another answer pertaining to the application made. But you hear that those people are employed. And when you walk on the road, the amount of idle youths you see on the piazza, you have to wonder exactly where these employment figures come from. Mr. Perkins?
Yes.
In 1973, the government of the PNP embarked on constitutional reform. And they spent $404,000 going around having meetings. 1973.
Oh.
Mr. Manley government, and they usually go around in their bush jackets and have meetings at libraries and things of the sort. And after 30 odd years, you still hear argument about constitutional reform.
Yes.
You have local government reform, and we spend millions of dollars a year about regional councils and all those type of things. And today you still hear that we need to reform the local government system. Them about to talk about reform now. What you hear about is transformation. So it's transformation of education and no transformation of the justice system. But the country is still in a mess. No sign of turning the corner and embark on a path that the younger generation can see some hope. When they look, all they see is the country heading further down into a sinkhole. But with transformation of the justice system, the amount of legal luminaries that we have in the country, and people that you have in Jamaicans for Justice and other legal bodies out there, we should be able to have capable people that would be able to make reasonable contribution to reform in the justice system, instead of having to find some $55 billion.
But hold on a minute. What is the essential feature of the justice system that we need to reform?
Now, well, it must be certain laws out there that have not been implemented to help the people, because I believe that we have the necessary mechanisms in place to give justice to the people, but it is those that go around breaking the law and the government not really stepping on the situation firmly to deal with those that are the culprits.
You know, sir, it is our basic problem. I've said it since morning. It is worth repeating. Our basic problem is a mental one. Right? It is our mental attitude to justice. Our minds are riveted to the plantation model. Some people live in the great houses and they are entitled to justice, even to injustice that favors them. Right?
Because they figure it is not going to affect them.
Well, but even injustice that favors them. Like when, for example, taxes are taken from people and used to make virtual gifts, overruns then.
Which is a form of corruption.
Which is a form of corruption. Which go into the pockets of persons who are close to the party or whatever. Right? That is injustice being done in favor of the people who are getting and against the people who are paying the taxes.
Of course.
Right? Who should be getting their money's worth. Right. Now, so that is a habit of mind that we have. Right? That those who wear the same color shirts as ourselves are entitled to injustice that favors them. And those who wear different color shirts are entitled to are exposed or to injustice that hurts them.
Yeah, including brutality and victimization.
Whatever, right? They don't matter. Okay? And when it comes to the niggers them who live down in the ghetto and them place there, right? What does it matter? What does it matter if a policeman kick down to them or shoot them or whatever? Right? That is our attitude.
Yeah, and then you give them little crumbs and talk or you love them.
Yes. Right? That is our attitude.
Yeah.
And as long as that is the attitude, right? It doesn't matter what you do. I mean, suppose, for example, you were to have a judge who thinks in those terms, right? And who, when he hears the policeman's evidence, has difficulty, doing anything other than accepting it. And I'm giving you a hypothetical situation, right? What if that were a situation? How would the little man down there get justice, whatever was the truth of the matter? Right?
Yeah.
So that is the kind of thinking problem that we have. Right? And it isn't only, I mean, when you hear the very people from the ghetto area, they have it too.
Yeah.
Right? The criminal, them should have dead. Right? And they are prepared to brand people criminals without any fair trial.
Yeah. Like how that person was telling you about the person in the church who said was people in Tivoli or they should be killed.
Yes.
In terms of the brainwashing of the people over the year, that people from particular areas
yes, that is what it
wicked.
Is.
And even people in another area do similar things and from the same background, you hide it and put it under the carpet.
Absolutely.
Aided and abetted by a corrupt media in many cases.
Absolutely.
And when you look at even police brutality and things of the sort, many cases that involve the police, and when the police is found to be culpable, what needs to be done is for the police to pay the full cost of their defense. But what you have is taxpayers' money being used to defend them.
Yes.
So they are not afraid of going out there. They can kick down anybody, beat up anybody, and shoot anybody. Whilst they figure the system is here that will free them of their activities.
Yes. Hold on. hold on just a moment. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here. Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
I just want to say one thing about that comment that you made about the public defending the policeman. The policeman, after all, is working in fairness, is working for the public on the face of it, right? And if he finds himself with a problem, I mean, accused of an offense in the course of his duty, he can't, a police constable, what is he getting as a salary, right? How is he going to pay for a proper defense? And if he does, he's exposed to danger every day out on the streets, right? And maybe some of the times he's doing right, but yet accused of wrong, right? So I think that we're going to have to undertake that defense. I don't think there's
no. In terms of what I am saying, is when they are found guilty beyond reasonable doubt, then they should be made to bear the cost.
Well,
because you see, the majority of the police are decent, law-abiding men and women who are doing a good job, but here's a small percentage there that has brought the police force into disrepute.
Well,
and you need to look at the selection process of the police, because one of the problems we have to, is some JPs out here that recommend people,
yes,
that are of dubious background, because you see some of them have been caught involved in some rather shady practice out here too.
Well, anyway, I have to run.
Anyway,
thank you very much. Okay, we're going to read some email.
Mr. Perkins, it's a pity you didn't listen to the BBC radio report of yesterday's cricket at Sabina Park. It was very interesting. Apparently, at least one commentator thought the stadium was not full and that the response of the public was generally flat.
Oh.
I was hoping that you would have heard the broadcast and commented on it.
No, I didn't hear that.
Mr. Perkins, in Jamaica, public relations, apologies and excuses have served this government for 18 years. All it has to do is borrow some money, spend it lavishly on some event or the other, whether it's a rubber ball for football or some kind of sports or some national events, get the ordinary people excited, and with the usual strategically placed detractors and apologies, repeat over and over the positives on air, land and sea, and all the benefits that such spending on such events will have on various areas of the economy. Some are sometimes going into the stratosphere. I remember the lady from Jampro saying that this event, Cricket World Cup, was going to earn us nearly $800 million US.
Oh.
Please look up the records, Mr. Perkins. I'm sure I'm right. It was over 700. Anyway, in 1998, it was a World Cup football, and a big football. In 2002, it was Emancipation Park. Now it is a Cricket World Cup ceremony. I am hoping that the PNP does not use the cricket to further divide the people of Jamaica. We Jamaicans love our cricket over the years, and for it to use it as a destructive tool would be very sad. Mr. Perkins, I am hearing in my office this morning, and I've tried to verify it. This is a piece of email that a former president of the cricket from the ICC was not invited to the opening. Neither was the cricketer Wes Hall.
Pat Rousseau.
Really?
That's my understanding. He wasn't invited. I don't know why.
Neither was the cricketer Wes Hall.
Well, mistakes are made, I suppose. But Pat Rousseau was president of the West Indies Cricket Board of Control. I don't know what could have happened.
Maybe it was lost in the post.
Yes, maybe it got lost in the post office.
Yeah.
Not unlikely.
Dear Mr. Perkins, I'm very concerned about the closing of schools in the surrounding areas of Sabina Park. Have we got our priorities gone crazy in this country? I'm amazed that the Ministry of Education as well as the Jamaica Teachers Association are quiet on the matter. My children are adults now, and thank God most of my grandchildren live away from Jamaica. But I still live here, and I see the children of this country. I see their condition. Education, Mr. Perkins, is the highway out of poverty.
I have no difficulty agreeing with that.
By the way, Mr. Perkins, those gunmen who the police say were allowed to return from wherever they came from, whether it was Tivoli or Rima, should thank their lucky stars for the Cricket World Cup. What do you think?
Well, I don't know that Cricket World Cup. I think it's a very unlikely story. Right?
Mr. Perkins, I may be mistaken, but have you noticed that as the World Cup cricket grew nearer, the price for gas has also gotten higher? Maybe we missed petrol is climbing and the price of crude is going down in the rest of the world. Seeking, obviously, to take the place of that patriot. I saw in the papers policy. This reminds me so much of a certain leader of Jamaica and what happened to our country in the 70s. Mr. Perkins, I would like you to find out the following for me. How much are we paying Mr. Chavez for the LNG? Does he have the LNG to sell? I believe there was some report in the papers this morning that unlike what Mr. Paul said, that Mr. Chavez will deliver in 2 years, there is no way that the factory can be set up to enable us to get the oil in that time. What is going on, Mr. Perkins, is obvious and a desperate attempt to save face and save the CSME. But if Trinidad cannot be counted upon as a partner to keep its word, why should we depend upon Mr. Chavez, a newfound friend who may or may not have what he's promising?
Well, Mr. Chavez, for one thing,
is it an agreement, a contract, or an MOU again?
My understanding it's an MOU, but Mr. Chavez is trying to inveigle us into an alliance. What is called the Bolivarian Alliance of the Americas or something like that. So maybe, but I do gather that the manufacture of LNG poses certain problems because of the the high demand and the high demand for the equipment and the limited sources of it and so on. I don't know.
Good day, Mr. Perkins. A friend of mine poured a decking in January 2006 with cement distributed by CCCL, and in March 2006 requested of the cement company to do an inspection. They came in October 2006 and it was found that the decking was weak, and he told him that he should get a quantity surveyor to do an estimate to replace. The estimate was submitted in October, and after a battle they decided to pay his quantity surveyor what his quantity surveyor had estimated. Mr. Perkins, the documents were signed on February 5th, 2007. And on March 12th, 2007, over a month later, he's being told that they are paying people, they are only paying people who signed in October 2006, and they said he would be paid in June or July 2007. Mr. Perkins, what do you think my friend should do in the meantime? Continue to pay rent and mortgage because he has nowhere to live? Mr. Perkins, if you know of a better solution, I'm sure my friend would appreciate it, because the government, the Fair Trading Commission, is not making the cement company follow through. In 6 months, that money that they agreed to pay will not be able to do the construction needed to replace the faulty decking without additional funds carried out from the individual's pocket because of the rise in prices. By the way, shouldn't the cement company be paying for more than just construction? Shouldn't they be also paying for the loss of use?
Yes, I think that they should be paying some serious damages. But one gets the impression that they're being protected, you know.
Mr. Perkins, what is going on with Mr. Pickersgill and all these road building projects? I heard him on a radio program last night saying that the old toll road, as proposed by Mr. Kingsley Thomas, would cost more than $200 million if carried out, and therefore was the basis for the proposed change to the Bushy Park to Ocherious leg of Highway 2000. The proposed change, as outlined by Mr. Thomas last Thursday, will shift the route from its original path through the St. Catherine and St. Anne hinterlands to sections of the existing road corridor. According to Mr. Kingsley Thomas, the proposed change is based on advice from traffic managers who apparently believe...
Hold on just a moment. We have to take a break. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
If they're going to reroute the road along the Bogwalk, Gorge, and Mount Russell, and it will be a toll road, how some of us who want to travel to the North Coast without going on a toll road going to do it?
How what?
How some of us who would like to go to Ocherious without taking a toll road will be able to do it?
Well, you can go through the junction and from Agwalta Vale through Port Maria.
Have you ever gone to the junction lately?
Yes. Well, yes. Not too long ago.
Well, it's in bad shape. It's in pretty bad shape.
Well, but that only says that this is a road in Jamaica.
Yeah, but what if I live in Spanish Town? I want to go to Ocherious. I must take a toll road. There's no other way to go.
I don't know whether they're going to be... Is it that they're going to convert the Mount Russell Road into a toll road?
That's what they said.
Is that what they're saying?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I really don't know, but it seems to me that
it looks like they are looking for the road of least resistance to do everything and then charges for us.
Yes, well, I don't know, sir. They're exposed.
Possible you can get Kingsley Thomas on the line and talk to him about it and see what he has to say.
Yes, all right. I'll see whether we can get that.
Most obliged to you, sir.
All right, all the best to you.
Bye.
Okay, hello?
Hello?
Hello, yes?
Mr. Perkins. How are you doing?
Not too bad.
I lay down here and every day I listen to the program.
Yeah.
And I really want to ask a question. If the Prime Minister not hear the cry of the people with the office for the birth certificates and so forth.
If what?
If them not hear the cry
of the people.
So many people has been crying about this, that them cannot get them birth certificate and them paying money and been going through so much agony. I want to know if them no hear the cry of the people if we do something to that office.
Why should they do something? They're making more money out of it.
Why, I tell you, even the people, I want to know why the people them no rebel about it, because even people who when them passport up now, them going to have to get birth certificate and stuff to renew them passport. A person have a passport already. Have a passport already. And probably done even two passports already. And now to renew now, and them can't get them thing, them can't find nothing. And
Yes.
So how did people get them passport before?
Well, what you need to ask is how those people came to be at the RGD. The people who are causing this kind of problem?
Sometimes I am here in the morning hours and you hear there is a woman come on, about 2 of them or 3 of them come on and telling about the RGDB with put on like she has sweetie in her mouth attack.
Yes.
And then how the RGDB and this and that, and if you hear her, you say something different. And I want to know why they should not shut up her mouth if she not hear what going on with the people. I mean, every day you hear the people been bawling about this thing so much and nothing can done to it.
Well,
what kind of people they have inside it?
I don't know. They're all people of a certain religious persuasion, so I gather.
Religion?
So I gather.
something is wrong, man. And something is wrong, and nobody can take it up in hand and say, listen for the poor people and so forth. People has been traumatized so much, man, through this thing and so on. Eh? My God.
But how is that different?
Huh?
How is that different from what the central government is doing? Well, it is demanding taxes of you, right?
Yeah.
You have to pay those taxes.
Yeah.
And then what does it do with the taxes? You might expect to get a decent security system. You don't have that. You might expect to have a fire brigade so that if fire takes your house, you can get it put out quickly. You haven't got that. You expect to have decent roads to drive on. You haven't got that. You expect to have decent hospitals. You haven't got that. Right? Decent schools. You haven't got that.
These man people in lack of vision, Mr. President. They lack, man.
But the government is taking your money and delivering nothing for it, or next to nothing. Right? And the RGD is doing the same thing.
Then just using up the money on her own. I can't remember how much I spent. I believe it was $15 million then used and buy one ball. I wonder what?
9 million.
9 million and buy a ball.
Yes.
To hang up for another country. I wonder what happened to that ball now.
Well, I don't know, but
it was under the hand of the same Prime Minister here.
No, man.
Yeah, she was the
Minister of Sport. You're right.
Yes, the commander, she see one use it and company and boast and where it's going to bring us. So what does it bring in Jamaica? They have been using up so much money and the poor people has been paying for it and not getting no service after nothing at all. They don't get no service,
Well, hold on a little bit. Shut your mouth. You're better mine a 9 million or maybe this time a 90 million cricket ball.
Well, when I hear the time when them talk about buy a ball, hang up on another country, and I've been wondering all the while, what does that ball bring into this country? $9 million and take up and spend on people want water. Look for water.
Well, hold on. Can you imagine?
Water in our own country, water we can't get in our own country. I see on the television sometimes people dipping up dirty water in Cambodia and Sudan and them places.
Yes.
Water, you can't get water, Mr. Perkins.
Well.
In Jamaica, sit down for water.
Yes, well.
It's terrible, man. It's terrible. We really, what does they delivering? What are the government delivering for 18 years into the? What are they delivering? We get independent now. How much? 40? How much now?
1962.
1962.
44 years.
44 years.
44,
and
coming up to 45.
And we build up 1 and 2 little house run our own. Few little big house because that's the youngest thing that me see. And people tell us that Jamaica moving. Where Jamaica moving go? We backward evermore.
Yeah.
In this country. And we get up every day and say we are run behind politicians. So the people, the politicians, them get the people, them illiterate that they say something different and them have them twisting them round and round like when you ring a piece of cloth. and people still get up and they run behind them. Every day, Mr. Perkins, because me so happy renewing me, as a matter of fact, it up now, and I don't even know what to do because
what is that? Your passport?
Yeah.
Oh.
And I know me have a valid passport where about 3 of them me finish already. We used to travel after have me visa them in a hit, and I want to know now why the reason you can't get a passport after the same paper you have.
Well, I don't know. It would mean that you wouldn't be paying for the birth certificate, you see? And Dr. Davis wouldn't get what he wants to get.
Oh my God, sometime in this man
he has a budget to deal with, you know.
Yeah, I hear the lady call you and say she wants to attend her daughter's graduation or something like that.
Yes.
And when the woman go through and I don't go she alone every day.
Every day people come talking about these things.
What kind of people them like this, man? Why? I tell you that me call you about Mr. Perkins, man. It really terrible, man.
But the people are not taking the right action, sir. When they do these things to them, they just lap it up.
Yeah.
Right? What they have to do is get back at them.
Yeah.
And make them know that it's going to cost them.
If people,
right?
What them should do, what people should do, when them call in and support, man, some of them should have left their number and make them pull up and get liar. Them pull up and get liar upon Sonny.
Yes.
Instead of one of them pull up,
that is what they should do, yes, quite true.
Get good liar upon Sonny. Pull up themselves, man, 10 of them are support of them and pull together and good liar upon it. Jesus Christ, man. You know your country, man, and you put people in there when I deliver to you, when I do, and every day people been talking and the government now hear what's happening to people to do something about it.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Perkins.
Oh, yes, sir. All right, sir. Hello? Hello?
Hello. Good afternoon, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, good afternoon, sir.
Yes, sir. The cricket match yesterday with the us and Pakistan. You know,
with the what? West Indies and Pakistan.
For about 2 weeks now, Mr. Perkins, they have been announcing how the tickets were sold out. And would you believe there were almost hundreds of seats there, empty?
Yeah, are you serious?
Yeah. I mean, if you even watch it on the TV, you could see the empty.
Well, so I gather, but at an early stage, I was told that was happening.
No, it's unbelievable. I mean, we're so used to this fakeness.
Was it like that at the end of the day?
Yes, it was. Right through, it was like that. Seats were there empty, and I know a lot of people. Those seats could have been filled, you know. But because they were announcing over and over that tickets are sold out, there were empty seats all over the place. It's unbelievable, man.
Well, I don't know. Maybe the thing didn't do as well as they had hoped.
No, man, it's height of stupidity, Mr. Perkins, because I know a number of people who wanted to go to the match, but they didn't even bother try because they were for weeks.
Yes.
You know, and we need to move away from doing things like that, you know.
Yes.
I'm really longing for a change in this country where we will just look at where we are and say, listen, this is our position now.
Yeah.
However, this is where we want to be. What we are going to do to reach that level.
Yes, indeed.
And until and when we realize that as a people, Mr. Perkins, we cannot go any other way than further.
I agree with you, sir. I agree with you on that one.
The people need to see that these politicians, especially the ones who are leading us now, you know, are all taking us for a bunch of fools. Because, Mr. Perkins, you and I know, I don't know if other people don't realize that. You see, if one of them gets sick now, they are taking a plane.
But you know, so if somebody takes you for a fool and gets away with it, then that suggests that you are a fool.
But, Mr. Perkins, I do what I can do to make the change, you know.
Yes, I know, but you're saying that they take us for a bunch of fools. If they take us for a bunch of fools and they get away with it and, you know,
do it again and again.
Yes, then we are a bunch of fools.
Oh, I tell you.
Would you say that?
We need to rise up as a people, and as I keep hearing you say every day, look out for the betterment of Jamaica.
Yes, you're right.
It's the ethical thing to do.
Absolutely.
And Mr. Perkins, continue doing what you're doing, because you're doing a lovely job.
Well, thank you very much, sir. I will try.
Keep reminding people about Agana Barrett. the Brayton 7. Because you see, we tend to forget, especially, something nice happens, we don't remember anything. We need to remember these things because the same way it happened to Agana Barrett, it will happen to me. That's how I look at it.
Yes. That's true.
Have a good day, sir.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. Yeah. All the best to you. Okay, thank you very much. We're back here online. Hello? Hello?
Hello.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Sir Perkins. This now, it's about 2 years now, Mr. Perkins. I've seen some people go on numerate. Hello?
Yes, I'm hearing.
Yes, to get no ID. It's going about 2 years now, and we can't get no ID. What's up?
I don't know what is happening there, sir, because I believe that there was a what do they call it? When they were re-verifying. And as far as I know, people got their IDs.
Well, it's going about nearly 2 years now, and we can't get any back the site.
Where is this?
St. Anne.
In St. Anne?
Yeah, St. Anne.
Oh. Well, if I were you, I'd get in touch with the, have you spoken to the people at the,
Them used to get out at Claremont.
Yes.
But we don't hear nothing and we can't get the ID.
Yes, but have you been in touch with them?
Yeah, but we call and we can't hear nothing at all, sir.
I mean, you can't hear nothing. Then what did they tell you?
I don't know. Them go around and take photograph and take everything and go around and going about 2 years now. We can't get no ID.
Well, have you spoken to your MP or your party leader, whichever, about it?
My MP don't go around, sir. My MP don't go around. She's fat and then she can't stand walking.
Oh, is that so?
Yes, she's very fat, so she can't stand walking to go around, so you have to go Claremont to find her.
I'll follow what you mean.
Yeah, she's quite fat, so she can't go around. No. Big in size.
Well, I don't know. Well, no, it seems to me that you need to get in touch with them and demand an answer to their question. Right? Okay?
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes?
Good afternoon. Is this Mr.
Good
Perkins?
afternoon to you.
I'm calling from a university in New York. We're listening to
I'm not hearing you very clearly.
I'm calling from a university in New York.
In New York?
We're listening to you online, yes, and I must say we appreciate the good work that you're doing.
No, I still am not hearing. Could we get the volume up a bit for me? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Hello? Hello?
Mr. Perkins, can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
I'm hearing you, but not well enough.
Oh, we were just listening to you, and a caller called in about the toll road that's going from, I think, St. Catherine, Spanish Town, through St. Anne. And we were very interested to find out what is happening to it. I know he asked you to see if you could get in touch with somebody else to find out what is it that's going to happen. We would like to hear what's going to happen. So if you could contact someone to find out.
Yes, this is in relation what to? What is this in relation to?
The toll road from...
Oh, the new toll road?
Yes, they're supposed to go from Spanish Town through Ocho.
Yes.
Yes, if you could get someone to talk about the topic, we'd appreciate it greatly.
Okay. All right, I'll have a shot at it. All right? Thank you very much. Okay, hello?
Hello?
Yes, good afternoon.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I have a little problem, I don't know if you can help me with it.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, we got about But last year, August, we go.
Would you make up your mind whether you're going to be listening to the radio or listening to the telephone?
Yeah, Mr. Perkins, you hear me now?
I've been hearing you for some time.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, I went back to Twickenham Park, got numerate. Yeah, but nobody come verify me at that home.
They haven't been to visit you at home. Now hold on, you went to be enumerated.
Yes, and they fill out the form, everything with the necessary documents and what them say must carry. And nobody come verify me.
Have you been in touch with them?
Yeah, I went down there back and she told me, say, boy, I'm have to just wait because now you forgot and if election call, that will be 2006. We wouldn't have on the list.
But there's going to be. She told you that you just wouldn't be on the list.
No, she said if election call in 2006, I wouldn't be there on the list. So we'd have to wait until about January, February. But I mean.
Yes, but it's now 2007.
Right, and nobody come verify me. They give them a number, nobody not call me, not all. So I like to know what the position.
Well, I think you have to ask them about it.
Yeah, but then it seems to. I asked the lady, but she don't seems to can't give me any information on what the.
But they must. I don't understand that. Unless there is some conspiracy to leave people off the list, I don't know.
Yeah, that I can understand too because I mean, she tell me say if the people normally come up on Sunday, come verify.
Yes.
Right, and me give her my phone number to call me when them come in and I'll know.
And you were enumerated when?
2006, August.
August? I don't understand that. Hold on just a moment. Hello? Hello?
Hello?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
I tell you what, sir. I don't really understand what. I just had a call from somebody down in St. Anne having a similar problem. What I'm going to do, you see?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to find out what is the procedure. What does one do in circumstances like these? Okay?
Yeah, and next thing, Mr. Perkins.
And I broadcast it.
Yeah, Mr. Perkins.
And
next thing, what was it called? The Greenfield Stadium?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know, but that stadium is going to house any cricket or anything?
Well, I don't know. It's left to be seen.
I mean, just like that, just waste the money on this.
No, I assume that they must have some plan for doing something else with it.
For the opening ceremony, that's all? Just for the opening ceremony, that's all it's there for?
Yes, the opening ceremonies and the few practice games, you know.
Okay. All right.
That's why they built it.
I know. Them people know for waste money, though. Good pun that, you know, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, well, you know, sir. If you have people's money and you feel like wasting it and the people are quite prepared for you to waste it, well.
Yeah, but Mr. Perkins, let me ask you, when Jamaican people going to wake up and realize these people is not for them. Yeah? I mean, all right, I'll give you a look up and tell you what happened. We went by a Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale?
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. And when we come out of the plane, we're drawing a long line. The plane is full, right?
Yes.
When I look, me say, man, I call up United States to come and fly past, you know. And I said, them people good, you know. When we come back to Jamaica now, 4 days time.
Yes.
All me can hear is visitors over here and people are gone. And them not call me. I'm a citizen of Jamaica. Nobody not call me.
Yes.
You have seen a long line.
Yes, you're not important, man.
That me I said.
The incoming visitors, they're more important than you.
Yeah, but when you go
in your country.
Yeah, when you go to the country.
And when you go to their country, they are more important than you.
Right.
So wherever in the world you are behind.
Well, it amazed. I can't understand how people, I don't understand, I tell you.
Yes, well.
Anyway.
Well, so we put up with it. It's our fault. Okay?
True. Alright.
Alright. Hello?
Oh.
Hello?
Good evening, Mr. Perkins.
Good afternoon, Mom.
Yes, it's the first time calling to you.
Happy to have you.
Yes, I'm calling from Trelawney.
From where?
Trelawney.
Trelawney.
Yeah, the same problem what the gentleman just calling about.
Yes.
The card.
The voting card?
Voting card. It's the same problem from 2005. I do my own until now.
Oh, is that so?
Yeah, until now. Nobody come with none. I do it at my home, take picture, everything.
And you haven't got a card?
No, I don't get none until now. It's from 2005.
What the devil is going on?
Yeah, so something look like it wrong with a person.
It's sounding very odd to me.
Yeah, so maybe when time the voting time come up, none of us cannot vote.
Yes.
So
no, but you have to take some action before then.
Yeah, from 2000.
What I'll do is try and get some advice on it,
yes, to find out what really happened.
Uh-huh. All right. Okay. I don't understand this. This seems to be most mysterious. People enumerated and can't get, and there's one in St. Anne, one in Trelawney, and this one from Hanover, no? Something like that. Very odd. I don't understand what's going on here. Maybe Mr. Danville Walker can tell us. We try and give him a call tomorrow. Hello? Hello?
Yes, Mr. Perkins.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon.
Yeah, man, that's true, man. Because my wife, I'll do for her one, See, the whole one, me have the long time first one night me I work with.
You serious?
Yeah, God know, man. Father knows the son I come down from heaven now. Man. And can't get it. Yeah?
Yes, I hear you.
You can't get it, man. So I don't know where really are going, man.
Oh?
Mr. Perkins, if you watch all the news, the people might take up the dirty water and I drink one night on TV.
And I didn't actually see that, no.
You see it? Yeah, man, I asked them for a clip because you can't supposed to get it, man.
Oh, yes?
And
maybe I have the tape, I can go and look back at it.
Yeah, and I tell you, say, them blow long much here, them can't know what I thought what the cow drink, you know.
Uh-huh.
They must have to take up a drink, you know. And what's the next thing again? It's a Spanish Town Bridge.
Yes.
It's that on TV, told them, say, if they
I saw that one, yes.
It's them say one about the cricket.
Uh-huh.
If they want to come paint it on them something there.
Uh-huh.
I was paint, I saw it rotten down. You see it? I was to the cricket and come paint and I'll show you. And they so come like it as a highway amount that every duty vehicle drive pan Mr. Perkins.
Uh-huh.
So that they were tear down a vehicle, they were go down, this is how deep that one there is.
Well, that means somebody dead.
Alright.
At least one.
And the cricketer go and all that, so that now fix again.
Uh-huh.
I'm not working, why the forcing? I listen to radio, a morning time, and the forcing say, and I even fix it, and I even fix it. But every copy that keep in that direction there, is it a fix? You know,
well, I tell you something, sir.
Yeah.
Mr. Montague said that he wrote to the minister.
Yeah.
Pointing out that the bridge was defective.
Yeah.
And he did not hear back from the minister.
All right.
Now, if the minister is saying that it is Mr. Montague's responsibility,
yeah,
then he should have got in touch with written to Mr. Montague and told him so. But in any event, how can the parish council be responsible for fixing a bridge if they haven't got funds for doing so?
All right, then.
Right?
Yeah, man.
I don't understand that.
Man, them for go and better man and deal with people's life and respect people's life. You see, in Jamaica, if you're in a black road and do certain things, you don't get through, you know.
Well, even then you get through only minimally.
Yeah. So don't stop playing politics with people's life and things, man. You Mr. Perkins, respect to yours, sir.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
All the best to you. All right, hello?
Hello, Mr. Perkins.
Hi, hello, how are you?
Hello?
Yes, hello?
Mr. Perkins, just a quick call.
Yes.
I have to join those that have not got their cards.
I beg your pardon?
At North East St. Andrew. I checked there some months ago.
Yes.
And they told me my card was not ready. So I just sort out phone and add to the list.
All right. Okay. I will try and get in touch with Mr. Danville Walker.
Yes, I've got something,
Right.
you know. I just thought I'd add my list,
Yes.
my name. Okay, Mr.
Okay,
Perkins?
Mom. All the best to you. Okay, hello?
I just thought I'd add my list.
Hello?
Mr. Perkins?
All the best to you.
Hello, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir. Good afternoon to you.
Hello, Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir. May I listen to you? May I hear you?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon. How the country run, sir?
How do you think it's being run? How do you think it's being run? Okay, yes, let's go to another call. Hello?
Mr. Perkins?
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you, sir.
Uh-huh.
I was wondering why you're wasting time with that man with the radio so long. Sure. You hear me now? After me hear the people my call about identification card.
You got yours?
No, man. Them come verify me the 1st of August 2005.
Uh-huh.
And we think when them verify, I mean that you're going to get your card because them always I tell you if you not marry it now. If election call, you're not going to vote.
Uh-huh.
No, so them say.
Well,
since me hear the people my call, me call the office, electoral office, and they are telling me that my card will be expired on the last day of this year, on the last day of December.
Uh-huh.
So the re-verification that was done 2005, we're not going to get card until early 2008.
Oh, is that so?
Right. So, because I was concerned about it too, and since I hear so many people calling, I just call the office in Kingston.
But what about the person who had not previously been enumerated?
Well, I don't know, because she asked me, when will my card be expired? And I said, it's 2007.
Uh-huh.
And she said, well, that means it's the last day of 2007.
Uh-huh.
So those who enumerate during that time won't be getting the card until early next year.
I follow what you mean.
All right, Mr. Perkins.
Uh-huh.
So I just thought of calling and sharing. And
Well, thank you very much for that.
You're welcome.
But I still am going to have to try to get Mr.
Yeah, man,
Walker.
you need to.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, hello? 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 What's happening? Nobody?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yes, you're here.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
I feel pleased to shout out this evening to you.
Yes.
Yeah, it's a long time should call you,
Yes, indeed. We haven't got a lot of time, though.
Yes, but I just want to congratulate your station.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, man, it's very informative.
Oh, is that so? Good.
Yeah, man, especially this morning on Farm Talk.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on.
Yes, thank you.
And I want to thank you, all those people make it possible in and around the country that
Okay.
we can be able to put up a stadium.
Uh-huh.
I believe it will be a great value to the country after a time,
I beg your pardon?
I think it will be a great value to the country after a time.
The stadium?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
In one way, it's like you have a lot of materials put down and you have workmen, but to put them together, is when you put them together you see something what you have.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, because a lot of material could be at a spot, but if you don't take it and build something, you don't see value of it.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, man, so I want to thank those people
Good.
who make it possible.
Yes.
And a point of encouragement.
And when you build something and it just remains there empty, that's good too.
Oh, we're going to make some plans here about some gospel concert tonight and things like that if we get the privilege.
I see. Gospel concerts.
Yeah, man.
I follow you.
I have a lot of issues to talk about, but I know that I'm out of time, actually.
Yes, all right. We are out of time now. So you have to call back another day. Okay?
Oh, yes.
Okay, that brings us to the end of Perkins Online for today. We'll be back hopefully tomorrow, usual time, usual place. We look forward to your company. So long.